You know what time it is.
It's the best time of the week. The best podcast on the earth is about to start.
The best podcast in all of pro wrestling,
Mm.
of course.
Mm. What podcast is this, Prophet?
You know what? It's another episode of us climbing on the top rope
Mm.
and laying the elbow drop on somebody.
Macho Man style.
Hey man, you gotta point to the sky and then drop that fucking elbow, man.
Woo. Well,
But it is another episode of Off the Top Rope.
let's go. Again, best wrestling podcast on the planet.
Yeah, if you want predictions that are gonna probably be right, you come to the right place.
It's actually like we've talked about this before. But it's actually wild how many things we've talked about that have been right. We're at 98%.
Yeah, man. The only one that tripped us up is Willow and Chris Stat.
Yeah. And we're going to be talking about them a little bit later today, too, because I'm pretty sure they tripped us up again.
But, it all, as we'll talk about it, it brings a certain, one of my favorite people into the thing. So I don't mind at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As always, we have a very stacked show this week. We talk about all the wrestling from this entire week. And we're going to start a little bit different this week.
Ooh, what we starting with?
We're going back to Japan, baby. We got to talk about the G1.
Okay, let's go.
Man, all right. So it's been a while since we've talked about G1 on the podcast.
Right.
And my boy, a lot of shit has happened.
Damn.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to condense this as fine as possible, because if I were just to go on and talk, I could talk about the G1 for 8 hours.
Oh, fuck.
We're not doing that.
Maybe we need to make a super show of this.
a New Japan, AEW, TNA, WWE super show.
Oh, no. Fuck the WWE part, bro.
That's a 5-hour show.
No, WWE can get the fuck out of there.
Hell yeah. That's what I like to hear.
No. Because it'll botch the show like a Tonga Loa spot. So,
I know we said we were going to talk about the G1, but can we...
Okay, let's do a little side thing over here. Let's talk about Captain Botch real quick.
He can't even hold up a tag title right, bro. And he's been a tag champion before. Did you see him hold up the title?
Sure did.
Bro, what is going on with him?
I don't know. But it just says, like, not everybody in that Samoan dynasty is great. So it's whatever.
To give a little bit of feedback, because this ain't going to be a topic. We just going to speed right through this. With Jacob Fatu hurt, like actually hurt, he had to relinquish his half of the tag titles, which I don't even know he was one half of the tag champions, which makes sense. Yep. So Tonga Loa, so now the Guerrillas of Destiny are now the WWE tag team champions. I don't know which tag team titles they have. I honestly don't care at this point.
The SmackDown ones.
Yes, the SmackDown tag team championship. They have that. Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga, the Guerrillas of Destiny, were a very good tag team. Tama Tonga can still go.
Yep.
I don't know what the fuck is going on with Tonga Loa.
He's fucking bad. That's what's wrong.
Bro, he wasn't this bad before. Like I legitimately, is it like stage fright? Is it like he's wrestled in the Tokyo Dome in front of like 50, 60, 70,000 people. So he should be used to this.
It's none of that, man. Like, sometimes, like, okay, I'm gonna harken this kind of like relate this to the game industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So say like, in design in particular, right? There's people that everybody thinks is good, but they're terrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they hide behind all the talented people. So when it comes time, so say like all those talented people either leave or inevitably get laid off, right? And they think this one guy is the guy that's doing it, right?
Yeah.
Or, is part of what the reason of what happened, right? They find out real quick they're not that guy. And this is just one of those things. He got put in the actual highest spotlight he could be put into, and he ain't that guy.
It's so sad to see, bro. And I know we are like the only podcast that will willingly dunk on WWE when they make mistakes or any other company when they make mistakes. But it's just so depressing to see Tonga Loa the way he is right now. Just not even as a fan of just wrestling in general, it's just so sad.
Yeah, man. Like I don't know what it is. I hope he snaps out of it and we get the one of old, but I don't know, man. Like there's something fucked up around there. There's something going on.
He lost his smile, bro.
He lost something. Because bro just forgot about everything.
Oh god. But that's it. You brought it up. I had to just get that out because I'm just it's just so depressing.
Yeah.
But now we're gonna talk about the good shit.
The good stuff. Let's go.
We're going to the G1. Um,
Okay.
to like I said, I could talk about this for like 8 hours. I will not. What I'm going to do is I am going to break down what is happening now and where we are going because by the time this comes out, we should know the semifinals or at least for the semifinals for the A block. Um, so let me break this down really quick. The last time we talked about how Naito was like down 0-2, like he didn't win a match. He was looking real bad. Right now he is at 10 points. He is the second highest in A block, tied with Evil, which is crazy.
What?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I said wow.
Yeah. Uh, and Zack Sabre Jr. basically is already guaranteed to go into the semifinals at 12 points.
Nice.
Everyone was worried. People were saying this is Zach's G1. This definitely feels like this is Zach's G1. Like he has done amazing work in this G1 so far. Like every match that he's had has been fantastic. He can be their foreign ace. They just got to do it.
They just gotta, they gotta put the rocket strap to him, man. And he can do it. Like he's great in the ring, great talker. The way he works, he's not gonna get fucking hurt anytime soon,
No.
right? So, and he's basically said, "Yo, I'm dedicating myself to this company." You know, throw him a bone, man.
He's gotten offers from a lot of other places apparently, and he has taken none of them. He says he wants to stay in New Japan. So, New
Yeah,
Japan, do what you got to do.
like I know for sure he got an offer from AEW.
Oh, for sure.
Like TK is probably like, "Yo, shit don't work out in New Japan. You know where you can come by."
You don't get to just wrestle Danielson on a show, a singles match, and you're just good. It doesn't matter what kind of partnership anyone has. Like you don't
Right.
get to just wrestle Danielson.
But one of the top guys, right? Like, no, you just don't.
Yeah, no. We've had the newcomer Cal Newman is out. His whole thing is he's trying to separate himself away from Will Ospreay. Low key though, not really working, bro. Like he just looks like Ospreay light. which I mean, all power to him. Ospreay trained him. Nothing else he can do. But bro, his gear looks like he's kind of like being like Ospreay. His finisher is the Oz Cutter. Like come on.
Guy.
Yeah. And like a lot of his backstage comments, he'll say like, "Oh, I'm not Ospreay. I'm not Ospreay." But everything else shows Ospreay. So I think the G1 was good for him, but he really needs some time to figure himself out.
Yeah. I feel like it's one of those things. It's shitty, like that he's in that position, but at the same time, he has to look into himself and be like, okay, which Osprey things can I remove, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for one, my finisher's the Oz Cutter. How about not doing the Oz Cutter, right? How
Yeah.
about I don't know, um, like a Gotch pile driver, something I don't know, like
Anything else?
anything else, like a clothesline. Who I don't care, right? That'll start differentiating. And then once he replaces one move, replace another move that makes him look like Osprey, right? That more moves you start replacing, the less you look like him.
Mm-hmm.
And stop mentioning Osprey.
It's
Just
actually
don't mention it.
it's actually kind of sad because like he'll say something about Osprey and then everyone will be like, "Oh yeah, that's right, Osprey," or like he'll do a move and someone on commentary will be like, "Oh, that's Osprey-esque," and then he was on commentary for one of these shows, right? And half the show he was also talking, but it felt like every 6 sentences he would bring up Osprey. And I'm like, bro, come on. Just
Uh,
you gotta figure yourself out.
you got to get out of that shadow, man. Like, because if you don't, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You'll just be the other Osprey guy.
Mm-hmm. The I could talk about everyone in this A block for a bit, but the last person I want to talk about in A block before I move over to B block is Gabe Kidd.
Yep.
This tournament's MVP, bro.
Yeah.
He's already eliminated. He only has 6 points. He's already out. Like he's not going to the playoffs for sure. But he is what New Japan is right now. Like
Mhm.
he's brash, he's abrasive. There were points where he was trying to be an asshole and the Japanese crowd was cheering him over Japanese talent. Like he had a really good match with Shingo. He brought out the best of Jake Lee, and Jake Lee's looked awful this tournament, except for
Yeah.
the Gabe match and Zach. Like those two matches were good for Jake, but no. And then just Gabe Kidd is just incredible.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I said I'm glad.
Yeah, he's out of tournament now though. Like, nothing else he can do. But he's definitely shown himself as not only being a proper face of the new generation going forward. He should be the leader of Bullet Club. He just has it.
Yeah, he's got what David Finlay doesn't have,
Mm-hmm. Like at
and
all.
what all the other previous Bullet Club leaders had, right? Like he's got that thing that propelled the Bullet Club to the next level.
The fact that he can willingly and openly be a piece of shit, and like they would cheer for him over like people like Shota Umino, who says he wants to be the next face, next ace in New Japan, right? Like
Yeah,
he's getting a better reaction than the Japanese talent, which doesn't often happen.
right. Last time he really had that happen was Kenny Omega.
Yeah, straight up. Zach's getting it now, kinda, but realistically, the last time it happened without any kind of barring was literally Kenny Omega,
Mm-hmm.
which Gabe did call out Kenny on Twitter. So that was a thing.
Yep, and Kenny. It's not like Kenny was. He's like, hey, if I wasn't recovering right now, I'd be right over in Japan.
The fact that Kenny answered is also kind of good for Gabe because other
Yep.
people have hit up Kenny like Gabe did. He didn't answer any of them,
Or he would just complete shit on him.
or he would just shit on him completely. Yeah. But that's A block. More than likely, Zach is going to be the one going to the finals after the playoffs. That's the hope. Moving over to B block, which is very interesting currently. As of right now, David Finlay is the top of B block.
God damn it!
But it's kind of like a three-way tie between him, Ren Narita, which is another young boy, and Jeff Cobb, all at 10 points.
Just give it to Jeff Cobb
right?
or Ren Narita.
Anyone but Finley, right?
Anybody but Finley, man.
Yuya has been having like the tournament of his life. Like he's beaten a couple people, but he got hurt in his last match against Suji. Like he ran into the ropes and like kind of jammed his elbow at the end of the match and just it looked like he couldn't move his arm anymore. So he's out. He's out of the tournament now.
Damn, I'm sure it wasn't a stinger or anything.
Nah, it sounds like I don't know what the injury was, but it sounds like he's like hurt. Where we don't know how long he's gonna be out, but he's done with the tournament at least for right now.
Damn.
Yeah, bro, it's kind of sad. But now that leaves an open space because currently, more than likely David Finley's gonna go through. More than likely Jeff Cobb's gonna go through. This is also the block that has has Takeshita in it. I don't know why I was gonna say Konosuke. That has Takeshita in it.
Yeah.
Takeshita's currently sitting at 8 points. He can go on. He just needs another win.
Yeah, just give my boy the W.
And funny enough, he is wrestling against Ren Narita, who is basically tied for first. So if Takeshita beats him, that can be a final spot. Or a semi-final spot.
It all depends if Takeshita is going to be at All In.
Yeah. Right now, it sounds like he's not going to be.
Yeah.
But he could easily because when All In is in a couple weeks, in the tournament, G1 is going to end. But by the time that we record again, G1 is most likely going to be over. I think it ends that Saturday night, Sunday morning.
Yeah.
So they can make it. It's just we don't know where Takeshi's going to be. Takeshi's taken some pretty wild losses though. He lost to Finley. That match was actually really good. I'm not going to lie. He lost to young boy Bolton Oleg. Literally the strong boy threw Takeshi around like a goddamn ragdoll, bro. It was crazy to see.
Yeah.
And who else? He lost to the B block ace, Hiroki Goto.
Goto. Oh man.
Bro. Goto has had like this wild swell in this tournament. Goto's always been good, right? Like no one ever really talks about him because he has never been the guy. He's already won a G1. So he is established. But he's been having some goddamn barn burners, bro. His match with Takeshita, his match that's on screen right now with El Phantasmo was fantastic. I don't think Goto had a bad match in the G1. And after his win, he brought his kids into the ring. And it was so wholesome to see.
Man, don't think it sound like he's retiring.
It is kind of like a retirement tour, which is hilarious. But he is Goto also is in a place to get into the semifinals. He needs a big win. He wrestles Hanare, who Hanare's out. So we'll see what happens there.
Right.
But, yeah. That's really it. I don't want to go super far in the tournament. I don't want to talk about everyone. Like I said, I will be here for 5 hours talking about this. So I'm going to stop here and we will talk again when the finals hit.
Yeah, we can do one show that's just all New Japan G1.
No, don't do that. I won't stop talking. We can figure something else out. But yeah, this tournament, a very good tournament. This is what New Japan needed, honestly. They have a lot of good talent left. A lot of people kind of didn't feel like New Japan was going to be that great. People thought this G1 wasn't going to be that great. I think this is one of the best G1s easily since the pandemic for sure.
Yeah.
So they have momentum. They just need to keep this up.
Yeah, I think it was also kind of a call to the locker room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody, since everybody was thinking, oh, it's not going to be that great of a G1, all the guys they have don't have it and all that shit, right? everybody in the lot, it probably fired everybody back there up, and now they're putting on some good shit.
Everyone's great in this tournament except for Jake Lee.
He didn't get fired up enough.
Nah, bro, not at all.
Or he's just bad.
He's bad. Like not Tongaloa bad, but bro, I don't know. I don't know what Japan sees in him. He is definitely not. He's tall. That's it.
Yeah. Well, again, it's one of those things where it's a mediocre bad guy behind a sea of talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he can sit there being bad and mediocre the whole time until it's his time to be in the spotlight, and then he's just terrible. You find out how bad he really is.
Got it. And got it. Is he bad?
Yeah. Just happens, man.
Mm-hmm. But that's all for G1. I think we can move on to our next segment of the show.
All right. So we got some Impact Wrestling.
Let's go.
A mainstay of the show from now on. So just so you guys know, it's going to be we'll sometimes cover New Japan, but the mainstays are going to be Impact and Dynamite. And Impact mainly because like no one covers Impact, and Impact's usually a decent show. So, I'm gonna cover that shit.
But before we get into it, I want to give TNA and Impact a shout out, bro.
Yeah, let's go.
Not even for the reason that you're thinking. They make editing this show very easy because they actually put out all their match graphics on their goddamn website. So I can just go get them and download them, and I can put them in the show. So Impact, thank you, and I wish every other company did that. AEW.
AEW.
WWE doesn't even have match graphics, bro.
Because they don't even know what matches they're gonna have, so they just have people appear in the ring.
God,
and then do a promo.
That's why, again, I appreciate TNA a lot for that reason. For multiple reasons, but for that reason alone, they make my life easier after the podcast so I can edit it. So thank you, TNA. Thank you, Impact. Please don't change that. Please do that every week.
Yeah, man. Oh man. So this nice episode of Impact. One thing I'm going to highlight is that crowd was on fire this day.
They were in Miami, or not Miami, but they were in Florida somewhere.
Yeah, they were somewhere in Florida, but man, that crowd was on fire, man. So shout out to them.
Yeah, they were.
So our first segment here, the System comes out to the ring, and the first person on the mic is Alicia Edwards, and she talks first, and she gets that crowd fucking going. Just her talking, they were booing so loud, like so fucking loud, like. There was a point where you couldn't hear her.
The way she talks, I would boo her too, because she talks kind of like a Karen a little bit.
Oh, she has that New York accent, so
yeah, bro, that's what it is. It's the accent.
New York, New Jersey. I don't know which one she's from. I'm gonna be honest. I can't tell the difference between those accents. The Jersey and New York accent, they almost sound the same.
Oh, they're gonna cancel you for that one.
Oh, I don't give a fuck. But whichever one it is, when she starts talking, it will annoy the fuck out of you, and it annoyed the whole crowd, and they were just booing uncontrollably. But the beauty of it is, she started it. She got the heat early with with the crowd. And then everybody that talked after that, the booing got louder. Like Eddie Edwards got the mic, the booing got even louder. The only time it quieted down was when Moose got the mic, because when Moose talks, everybody must fucking listen.
True.
So the System was going through. They were talking about, yes, they might have lost their titles, but it was a fluke, and they're gonna get their shit back. So, when the mic finally comes around to Moose, Moose pretty much calls out Santana, and he's like, "Yo, Santana, you've been around here so long. You like one of them old dogs. So what I'm gonna do, I'm calling you out. I'm gonna take you out to the back and give you the old Yeller treatment. And if people don't know what the old Yeller treatment is, they take the dog out and shoot him. Okay. Um. So there's a challenge set between Moose and Santana. Not sure when it's gonna happen. I don't think it's next week on Impact. But it might be on Bound for. I think it's Bound for Glory is your next pay per view.
I think so.
So it'll probably lead up to that. Um, I I I have no complaints about the segment. It was a pretty good segment. They got the crowd going. They got them hot early. They did exactly what they were supposed to do, and it was good. And I can't hate seeing Moose in the ring. So it was that. So after that, there was a quick backstage segment with Gresham, Jonathan Gresham, and like he's back to normal. He doesn't have the mask, or he's not like spitting out all that the black ink shit that he was doing like I think it was like the past month or so. And they're like, "Oh, we didn't expect you to look all normal." He's like, "Yeah, I don't remember the last few weeks, but yeah, I'm back. I'm here." And so Kushida pops up and is literally afraid to shake his hand, and he just leaves.
I
Uh,
So I was actually kind of curious about this because since I haven't been watching a TNA recently, right? So I didn't know about what this was. So I actually had to go and look to see exactly what they were talking about.
huh.
That shit was weird. Like
Oh
he
yeah,
he had the
no.
mask on. He like I don't know. It was kind of like what Leo Rush was doing in the Indies, where
Mhm.
he had like the black goo coming out of his like his mouth and stuff, and he it's just gone.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's just gone. They should have just like ended it because it was supposed to end at the last pay per view. That's why like Kushida, he was like he had the Hakushi wear where he was like he had all the tattoos and shit all over him, where he had the words on him, so he was like all kind of like tattooed up like a monk and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And they were supposed to wrestle, but flight issues because
Ah,
of that one thing that happened,
oh,
and
that's a
Gresham
headache.
couldn't get out there. So they did. I guess they did the final match this week, but it was kind of like a jarring thing, right? Like it was like, well, okay, you're back to normal. What the hell happened? There wasn't it wasn't properly sent off, or showing why like Gresham is just normal now.
I'm hoping that's like a story thing. We're gonna get the match does happen tonight, so we're gonna for sure get into the match a little bit later. But
Yeah.
it was I guess from me it wasn't as jarring for me because I didn't know what was going on. I guess, but it is kind of weird that they just kind of drop it, and the amnesia thing also is weird. But again, that screams storyline to me. You know what I mean? That's easy to be
Well,
like, oh yeah, I'm still an asshole. I'm just not gonna do the mask shit anymore.
well, the the amnesia thing makes sense, right? Because like when he was in the mask and he was splitting up the goo, he was like possessed by something, right? So he didn't know what was going on. So him. He wasn't himself, right? He wasn't Jonathan Gresham. He was the other thing.
Ah, okay, okay, I see what you're saying.
So he didn't know what went on. So that's why he's like, "Oh, I've been asleep for like 4 weeks, right? Like, and I woke up and I'm here." So it's like, yeah, okay, you know, one of those type deals, right? So
All
he
right.
didn't he turned into a different personality and he was a different villain at that time and fucked everything up and then he came back to himself.
Well,
What
all
was
right.
that movie? Split. Yeah, like that.
Well, all right.
Yeah. Um so the next segment, a little backstage segment, was Mike Bailey. He pretty much inserts himself into the qualifying Ultimate X match, and he pretty much says if he loses at any time during the Ultimate X qualifiers or anything, he will vacate his title. So that leads to the next match, which is Mike Bailey versus Trent Seven and Jake something. Um not gonna like just break down the whole match, but like there was a ton of fucking back and forth. It's Ultimate X, so they were doing Ultimate X shit, which is like they were flying, they were doing everything. But there are some things I want to call out though. There was a point in time where um Mike Bailey, so Jake Something and Trent Seven were outside the ring, right? Mike Bailey goes and does like a leaping dive where he like flips over the rope. Jake Something catches him and battering rams him into fucking Trent Seven, and then battery rams him into the apron, and then he power bombs him on the apron. Like a huge like it was like a thud.
That was such a good
And Jake
spot.
Something, it was I was like, God damn, but Jake Something's a big fucking dude, man. So it made it look all kinds of bad when he did that power bomb. It was good. Um, so after that there was like a ton more, and then with at the end, Speedball Mike Bailey getting the win. He did the flipping double knee drop to Jake Something, pinned him, got the 1, 2, 3.
My
So
my
yeah,
my favorite thing from this match wasn't really the match. I enjoyed the match, but it was commentary calling Mike Bailey an idiot for basically giving up his championship advantage, which I fully agree with. Like,
yeah,
you are the X Division champion. You don't have to do this. Congratulations, you are a fighting champion. Great, Mike Bailey. But Jesus Christ, if you would have lost, like, what would you have done if you would have lost? That
yeah. Like you can't get it back.
yeah, you wouldn't be inserted into the match. Like, your title's gone.
Right. Like they'd be fighting for a vacant title. Like you're an idiot.
Like, I am all for fighting champions. I am, but we talked about Mike Bailey before. Great wrestler, 100% stat wrestler. Now we said 0% talking. He's also 0% intelligence, also, because that was stupid.
He rolled one.
He rolled a 1, and he got lucky.
It's like, what the fuck are you doing, Mike Bailey? Why? But shout outs to the commentary though for calling out what everybody was thinking.
No, for real.
Like, why would you do this?
And even I forget his name. I forget his name, but the quote unquote good guy commentator was also kind of like, you kind of have a point. This is kind of stupid, and it was just funny to hear.
Oh man, yeah, man. Like, yeah. I have nothing to say to that. It's just yes. He's like looking at it like objectively, it's like you're fucking stupid, dude. What are you doing?
He literally gave up his championship advantage for a match that he would have already been in because he is the X Division champion.
Right.
And he's like, oh, if I lose, I will vacate. Like, bro, you don't have to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my thought. That's all I had.
It's true though. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? It's like, okay. Santino even looked at him. He's like, well, all right, I'll put you in the match.
This is what you want to do. And fucking, if Santino was looking at you like an idiot, you got to know you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. Santino's like, well, all right, that's what you want. Oh, we can do this. Oh wait, I think that thing's about to happen right now.
Oh yeah, we're actually gonna see it. Yeah, we can keep talking about this a little bit before we do this. Actually, you know what? We can explain what Ultimate X is for people because we're gonna be talking about it eventually.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go for it. No, go for it, man.
Oh, Ultimate X is a invention of Impact TNA where they have basically it's like a ladder match, but instead of a ladder, the title or the X, whatever they're fighting for, is strapped up to above the ring, and there are ropes attached to it. So to get the thing, instead of getting a ladder and climbing up, you actually have to traverse across the rope to get the actual title or X or whatever you are getting in Ultimate X. It's such a cool match type to see. No one else does it. It's a TNA exclusive, and it is fantastic every single time.
Yep, and they always get the best guys to do it. So it's one when they do it, like man, it's a sight to see. It's always crazy when it happens. All those matches are usually always crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely worth it. Okay, I think we could move on to our next one.
Cool.
Let's see. So okay, so the next one is Kushida versus Gresham. And right before, well, before anybody came out, so last week I was talking about WWE about doing this. Right before somebody comes out, they start doing a promo thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't do the WWE thing where somebody's waiting in the ring for like 5 hours before doing, waiting on somebody else's promo. They did the promo before the guys enter the ring. So, and probably because this is all pre-taped anyway, so it um they just inserted it there before the match.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're alive, they just go. So Hammerstone, he talks to Santino about joining the X Division qualifier match, the Ultimate X qualifier match, and Santino's like, okay, you think these guys are undersized and small, and you want to prove yourself? All right, go ahead. Right at the end of that, after he talks to Santino and Santino walks away, the boy Eric Young comes by and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "Hey, no, you shouldn't be focused on that. We got some unfinished business that we have to end, and we have to end it now." And so, uh, my thinking is, him and Eric Young are going to be in the same Ultimate X match. They're going to beat the shit out of each other.
Oh,
That's going to be great.
damn! That means only one of them is going to be able to get into the Ultimate X this time.
Yeah,
Damn.
unless they put them in two different blocks, right? And that's possible because they only did 3 of the matches. So there's 3 slots left.
Okay.
So first slot went to Mike Bailey, and then we'll talk about the other slots as we go
Mm-hmm.
on. So Kushida. So after that, because the Kushida versus Gresham match starts, and man, this was like technical wrestling 101. Those guys were like, it was like a very grounded grappling game. Like both of those guys were just grappling, like they were exchanging holds back and forth.
This match was so damn good, bro. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like literally two of the best grapplers, right? Like going at it. Gresham has his own unique style of grappling where he's like he calls himself they call him the octopus, and there's a reason why, because like the way he's like transitioning in and out of moves, he's like slipping in and out. And he does that throughout the match. Kushida is like basically countering him, and it's like he's countering Kushida's countering Gresham's countering Kushida, and it's like counter for counter grappling.
Mm-hmm.
It's This match was like, if you like technical wrestling, is like a very cool match to watch. Like just like from a technical wrestling standpoint, it was really cool. Um, so um, as the match goes through, Kushida eventually gets the upper hand, and he could Kushida like kind of reverses Gresham and gets Gresham in his triangle arm lock, and Gresham immediately taps out. But there was a little thing at the end of the match, kind of showing like the way they were kind of like panning in and out, like Gresham getting more and more pissed throughout the match. Makes me think, like, storyline wise, he's going to turn into that thing again. So we'll probably see that in the next few weeks.
I hope he doesn't turn the thing, but I hope I hope he's just mean. I hope he just stays mean, because Gresham can have like this. I don't even know what to call it. Like he could be like a pyrotechnical wrestler. Like I don't know if that makes sense or not, but he could still do all the submissions and just use like all the power that he has to do that and be mean with it. So if they want to do the mask, cool, do the mask, whatever. But just make him mean. I'm down with that.
Yeah, he has a different style when he has the mask on.
Oh, he does. Okay, so, yeah, this works. I never actually saw how he wrestled with the mask on. Okay,
Yeah, he changes. His style is different. He's more like the Great Muta, actually,
really?
with the mask on. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go check a match soon to see how he was with the mask on.
yeah, with the mask on, he wrestles different. He has quite a few different moves when he has the mask on.
Huh.
But yeah, no, it was overall that was a great match. I enjoyed it. Like I love technical wrestling, so getting to see that and shit, it's on free TV too. So
There's,
it's great.
there's gonna be a few matches that we're talking about today that honestly should have been on pay-per-views. That is crazy that they weren't.
Yeah. So right after this, there was a little segment with the ABC. They were talking about them. They were the last TNA champions, the first Impact champions, and they are now the three-time tag team champions. So in the middle of them doing their thing in their promo, Mike Bailey walks up and interrupts them. And Mike Bailey's like, you know what? I'm trying to get the best wrestlers uh, to be in this X Division Ultimate X match. What do you guys think about entering the qualifier? Because I want whoever's at the top, whoever takes the spots to be the best. The best guys. And ABC is like, we'll think about it. So for history, the last time the ABC were champions at one point in time, uh, the same thing happened. They both entered the Ultimate X, and there was friction between the two after that.
Mm.
So they were kind of like, yeah, well, we had issues last time, but you know what? This time could probably be different. And plus, we could be double champions. So why not? So sounds like the ABC is going to enter the Ultimate X qualifier matches. They're probably going to be in separate ones. Uh, and so like right after this, Jordan Grace comes to the ring, and every time Jordan Grace comes to the ring, she's going to do a title defense, and is open challenge. So I was wrong last week because I thought it was going to be another NXT person. I'm glad I was wrong. Um, it was Rosemary this week that comes out.
Which was
The
a
new,
very nice surprise.
yeah, I was happy with the surprise because we don't need another NXT person coming in, especially with this on this show, and you guys will hear why. Um, but yeah, like this match, it was a pretty solid match. Like right in the beginning, like Jordan Grace like tries to shake Rosemary's hand. Of course, Rosemary takes her hand and tries to beat the crap out of her. And there's like a whole bunch of early offense from Grace. And Jordan Grace tries to end it early with the Juggernaut driver. Gets countered. Rosemary spears Grace, gets a 2 count. Um, and then there was like a bunch more back and forth between the two, and there was a point where um, Jordan Grace, no, Rosemary got on the top rope. Jordan Grace ran up. She got knocked down. She goes back up on top of the rope, hits hits Rosemary, and then does a stalling superplex from the ropes. She does a stalling superplex from the top rope, which is pretty goddamn crazy. Um, and then as you know, like so they were continuing to fight, and they were both laid out at that point after the stalling superplex, and Of course, Ash by Elegance comes out, and she has a kendo stick,
Mm-hmm.
and she starts beating the crap out of both of them, which ends the match with the as a DQ. So yeah, it was a good match. I think that was the only way they could end it though, because like you don't know Rosemary and her new, doing her new thing and on her current win streak losing,
Mm-hmm.
and Jordan Grace of course isn't going to lose. So the only one that's like kind of in the feud with both of them is Act by Elegance. So having her like beat them both up and get the disqualification or like the no contest, it was pretty much the logical move here.
This
And
would
kind
be
of
a very interesting three way at Bound for Glory or whatever the next pay per view is. Like
yeah,
because we've talked about Ash by Elegance before, formerly Dana Brooke. We talked about how much she was getting better at the tail end of her WWE time.
yep,
I still don't think it would be a good idea for her to do a solo title match. So if you put Rosemary in between there, make it a three way. It sounds like a good plan to me.
yeah, yeah. Like I think that's where it's gonna lead because yeah, both of them have a thing against Ash by Elegance, in and against each other. So it makes the most sense to just have all three. Just do a three-way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So next we got the guy with the good theme music,
My
Josh
boy,
Alexander,
my boy.
the goat of TNA.
Yes, sir.
So he comes in, and for the first, I would say like for the first minute or so after he's in the ring, he's just soaking in the booze, and they were loud. Again, it was another situation where the boos were like they were so loud you almost couldn't hear him talk when he first started talking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so just he cutting his promo in the ring, and he's pretty much telling the reason why. He's like, "Yo, I'm not the one that changed because I've been doing the same thing I've been doing this whole time is being the standard of TNA and kicking everybody's ass in the ring and doing my thing." He's like, I'm not the one who changed. You guys are the one that changed. You believe in Joe Henry, but he's a meme.
Is he wrong?
No, he said he can't even lace my boots. So so he said now he's focused on getting his championship back and calls Nick Nemeth out. Um, calls Nick Nemeth out, and he says something that we talked about. I think in week no, we had a rant about it almost like close to like week two. It was our first off the cuff episode that we turned into like what we have now. But
Mm-hmm.
he called Nick Nemeth a transitional. So he will be exactly what he was in WWE, and that's a transitional champion.
Man, okay. Okay. I our whole podcast for that episode, yeah, we called it off the cuff at the time. It was saying that there's no such thing as a transitional champion in wrestling. That's what the podcast was about. We were talking about how dumb fans were sounding by calling Swerve a transitional champion and people saying that Swerve and Ospreay shouldn't have happened when it happened. Hindsight, we were right. We're always right. But the fact that this storyline is turning into a thing where Josh Alexander is trying to turn Nick Nemeth into a transitional champion is insane. I don't think I've ever seen a storyline, even in TNA. And TNA does like walk that fine line between like internet speak and wrestling stuff. They've always done that. But I don't think I've ever actually seen a storyline like this where a wrestler is trying to turn another wrestler into a transitional champion.
Yeah. Oh man, it's good.
I just
So
man.
yeah, man. Like so, right after that, Nick Nemeth's music hits. He comes out to the ring. He slides in. He just super kicks Josh Alexander. And when Josh Alexander laid out, he takes the mic and he says he accepts the challenge. And next week we're getting Alexander versus Nemeth.
Which was surprising to me. I for sure thought we were gonna wait for a little bit.
Yeah, same here. I thought that was going to be a pay-per-view match.
Mm-hmm. In a way,
The
I'm
way like, TNA usually does it.
yeah. In a way, I'm happy it's not because it reinforces that thing that we've talked about for AEW. Like,
Yeah.
not you don't have to save matches for pay per views. Like, if you have something that's really good, and if you want to run it. Run it. Just give them the time that they need. Perfect example was MJF and Ospreay. People were saying,
Yep.
"Oh, MJF and Ospreay should wait. They shouldn't do this. They're gonna do it at Wembley anyway." Blah 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 blah. Right? That's what people were saying.
Hmm.
You don't have to do that. You give them the time that they need. We can talk on and off if the time that Ospreay and MJF had was needed. There's a bunch of opinions there, but if you give people the time that they need, you can still get a very good match without having to save it for a pay per view, and you can build the story from that match to the pay per view.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Like if the two guys are good enough, they will not blow out everything they have on the first match.
Exactly.
And they can make a storyline out of it and then do the match again and probably, possibly have an even better second match.
It is most likely going to be better by default because they don't have to worry about TV time, right? Like it is a pay per view match. Like you can
Right.
make it quote unquote a pay per view quality match on pay per view. You don't have to worry about
Hmm.
like commercial breaks and stuff.
Yeah. And depending on how you're doing your storyline, like you can make it lead up to feel bigger.
Exactly.
And yeah, I think this is going to happen more than once. So, um, like literally right after this, Kazarian is in the back, pissed off at Santino, and he says, "Well, how are you going to have this match next week? And I'm obviously the number one contender because I'm the king of TNA. God damn it, I'm the king."
Tell him, Kaz.
Get him, cats. So Santino's like, "Yo, this shit's hot right now." So this is the match next week. He's like, "Well, if you're not going to put me as the number one contender, I'm going to make myself the number one contender." So Kazarian's probably going to go fuck somebody up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Somebody's getting beat up. Or in that match, so, I don't know the results or anything like that, but that match, Kazarian's probably going to jump in and interrupt and make it to where Josh Alexander can't win.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I keep on forgetting. Fuck, I can look it up if I want to. I'm not going to. I'm not going to. But I do think that would probably be the best idea. Like if you don't want a definitive winner or loser in the match next week, just throw Kaz in there and let him ruin the match. That's what
Yep.
we just talked about with Ash by Elegance. And make it
Yep.
you don't have to make it a throwaway for the pay-per-view. You can definitely make it a throwaway for like the following week or your next taping. You can do that. You don't have to make that a pay-per-view thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think, overall, I think it's a good idea, and they already set it up. See, that's what one thing TNA does really well. They look and they're like, okay, how are we going to set this up? And then they set this thing up. So, like, when it happens, it's like, oh, okay, I kind of saw this was going to happen when he came back there and, said this thing, or, this feud's been running on for weeks or something like that. It's not like out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's one of the things TNA does really well. But yeah, no, great segment. Again, TNA is doing good. It's fine. It was firing all cylinders until this point. So until this next match.
Oof.
So next match we got Wentz versus Casey Navarro and I think his name is David Chin.
Mm-hmm.
Two of the people here were good, which is Winston Navarro and Casey Navarro. David Chin was so bad. He was so goddamn bad. He was out of place in that match. Like, I'm gonna be honest, he shouldn't have been in that match.
Yeah.
Like, he shouldn't have been there. Like, the other two in the ring just outclassed him in every way. And it was one of those ones where you see how green a person can be, or how much they just don't fit the system. The how far they're out of the system they're normally in, right? Like that guy's a WWE system guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can see it. You can see it from the fucking intro when he comes in. He out of everybody that came to the ring, he took the longest to get in the ring because he wanted, he did the WWE thing where it's like, oh, spotlight on me, more spotlight on me. I'm the biggest star here. No, 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 no. You sucked. You were fucking terrible in that match. The other two guys carried the match, and they were great in Wentz won, which was the correct person to win the match. Like
Mm-hmm.
either Wentz or Navarro, either one of those two. Just send Chin back to NXT and pat him on the back and say, yeah, maybe next time, buddy, get some more experience. Like I stopped taking notes because he fucking was so bad and he stunk up the match. Like
He really did.
the back and forth between Navarro and Wentz was good. Um, yeah, it was just that Chin. He took me out of it because he looked so out of place, like during the match. Like, yeah, you're about to see this shit right now with
Oh,
him.
Dante Chen.
Yeah, you're about to see this dude come to the ring and take for fucking ever. And he took longer. He literally takes longer than both of the guys in the ring.
I don't. Maybe I blacked this out of my memory, but I don't remember all the posing he did at the top. I don't remember this at all. I definitely
Yeah.
just blanked this out of my memory. For sure, I did.
Look at him, like.
Yeah, you can definitely tell. You can definitely tell he is like a NXT guy, and like that's not slights to NXT or anything like that, but you can tell a system wrestler from a system wrestler in some cases, and that's usually not a good thing. In the little pose in the middle, yeah, that's a lot. This is a lot.
Yeah, and Wentz started making fun of him.
And he's still in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, and they're like, "Yo, get the fuck out of the middle of the ring."
Oh, Casey Navarro's like, he's over this. He's like, bro, hurry the fuck up.
Yeah, man.
Oh, he's making fun of him too.
Yeah, bro. Like this, the Wentz and Navarro, they were great. Dante Chin was terrible.
He definitely has
Like-
he has the wrestler look. Like he looks like a wrestler, but he definitely does not. Yep, definitely doesn't move it like a wrestler.
He doesn't move like a wrestler out of a WWE system.
Yeah,
Like he even did that thing where he hit the mat like that, like he was upset that he got like the 2 count when like they were already doing another 2 count over there. It's like, yo, what are you doing?
I mean, to be fair, this is faster than what like WWE likes to do for sure, right? Like for sure,
Right, which is why I'm kind of like, I'm kind of confused why they put him in the match because it just made him look bad. Like,
it's actually
he just shouldn't have been there.
it's actually even funnier because he's not even the one that got pinned in the match. Like he's not even the one who like lost technically. Like he lost, but he didn't get pinned.
Yeah, well, they made sure like Wentz did a move to him, and then he rolled outside the ring, like the slowest roll out of the ring ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did that pop up cutter that he does to Casey Navarro. But yeah, no.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about it more at like the end of Impact once we give our like final segment thing for this. But yeah, it's definitely this one is not the only one that didn't work in this episode of Impact.
Yeah. So okay, so the next match is Joe Hendry versus Wolfgang, but before the match started, we had the segment with Steph Delander.
Okay.
Steph Delander, she was because like during the whole show, I forgot to mention at the beginning, like
No,
you know,
this is good just to put it all in one spot. This is fine.
yeah, like she was pretty much like, oh, I'm gonna, we're gonna have our honeymoon and you guys are invited or whatever, right? And she keeps trying to call PCO, and every time she called PCO, like throughout the whole show, he was, it just went to voicemail, and she was like, "Oh, that's weird." So she was getting ready for him. She's in the hot tub. She's, in all provocative ways.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, towards the end, like during this segment before Wolfgang and Hendry, um, PCO finally picks up, and then she gets ready to run to the door. Before she was about to take her, her top off or whatever, she finds out it's Matt Cardona at the door. And Cardona's like, "Yo, what are you doing? We got to go out and make this money. Why are you messing around over here with PCO and stuff like that?" And she literally tells him to get the hell out, and that he's ruining everything.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, "Oh, okay, all right, okay, fine." So he, walks out, and there's a part at the end where two guys are holding PCO, and Matt Cardona is outside, and he's like, "Hey," was because they beat up PCO already, and hey, he's like, you know, I'm gonna teach you something, and I hope you remember it when you wake up. Don't mess with my property. And he stomps on his head and knocks him out.
Deathmatch King.
Deathmatch King. And this is one thing I do like about TNA. They do these little, like, I don't know, like mini, I don't know, like, kind of like they do some. Lucha Underground used to do it a lot. So it's something that I think they took from Lucha Underground, and it's successful because they did the same thing with the Violent by Design thing where Eric Young got killed at the end, or quote unquote got killed. He obviously didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they do little, like movie-ish segments like that, and I think it's cool. It's telling that story, and we already know it's going to be PCO versus Matt Cardona somewhere in the future. Maybe in the next pay-per-view for the digital media title. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But
Which is Emergence. I just saw it on
oh,
screen. So no, Emergence. August
okay,
30th.
okay, Emergence. I don't keep butchering the which pay-per-view it is.
We both been like forgetting completely. We've been going straight to Bound for Glory.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so like right after that, I put like my first note is Joe Hendry is tailor made for WWE. That's my first note about this whole match. Like Joe Hendry is tailor made for WWE. So he cuts a promo before the match to get the fans behind him, and then he literally tells Wolfgang, "Hey, your friends aren't here today." And he keeps talking while walking towards Wolfgang. Wolfgang, of course, is an idiot because he should know he's about to get sucker punched by Joe Hendry.
He's not
Guess what
savvy.
happened? Joe Hendry sucker punches him and then beats him up and throws him out the ring. Um, throughout this match, there was quick offense from Hendry after he gets sucker punched him. Wolfgang, eventually gets starts to take control. He throws Hendry back in the ring. Um, after they fight on the outside, which this is one thing. Him and Wolfgang fought on the outside for the first half of the match, like like mostly the first half of the match was them going inside and outside of the ring, and mostly outside the ring and fighting out there. Um, and eventually they got inside the ring, and Wolfgang is hitting a ton of offense on Joe Hendry. Of course, Joe Hendry comes back, and and then starts beating Wolfgang up. Does a few like really good power moves. Like there's one where he literally deadlifts Wolfgang up and does um what the hell is that move called? It's not a Samoan drop.
I didn't watch this match. I have no idea what happened.
It's kind of like a wheelbarrow drop or whatever. But he has him. He deadlifts him up and he like throws him behind him. I forgot what the move is called. Um, but he does that. He also but one he failed on. He tried to do the stalling suplex that he does to everybody, and Wolfgang too heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but eventually Hendry, uh, he hits the standing ovation. He gets the win. Um, and that's it. Like that's the show. Like right there. Besides, like after this, like they pan to the back, and it's Santana trying to get at Moose in the system. He's trying to fight them. Um, but yeah, like out of the two NXT matches, this one was like tolerable. But it really did like these two matches alone, like really just took me out of it. And it's not me shitting on NXT or anything like that. It's just there's levels to the wrestlers, right? Like you can't tell me TNA is a developmental company. They're not. They're a solid like third American wrestling company, and treating them like developmental is just not. They're not. Like you could clearly see when you take an NXT guy and bring him over here. Most of the time, they're not good. They cannot adapt to the new system. It's just it doesn't work and it doesn't work for them. It just doesn't work. There's few guys that can like Wesley, but Wesley's wrestled here before. He's done this thing before,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like he's adaptable. There's other guys that just aren't. And a lot of times, like when they go into like different companies, they're just bad. They got to get out of that. They got to remove themselves from that previous system that they were in. And it's a vice versa thing. Like a guy that's gone to Indies, he has to if he goes to WWE, he has to stop doing a lot of indie stuff and work the WWE style, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We're just seeing more and more cases of this where NXT guys go somewhere and they completely like flub up stuff. This match, like Joe Hendry and Wolfgang, it worked, but they both actually worked with each other before. So that's the reason it worked.
Oh, I'm guessing they had like a thing on NXT. Then I'm assuming.
Oh, and in Scotland.
Oh yeah. And okay. All right.
Yeah. So, they wrestled in, the Europe indie scene there. So they both have history, right? That's the reason why this match worked. But otherwise, like the Dante Chin in the previous match, it just didn't work, man. Like that was a dud. He was the dud. The other two guys were fantastic. But overall, minus those two matches, I liked the show. It wasn't as I'll say it wasn't as good as the past two shows, but it was still a decent show.
One thing I noticed about the show also, which I didn't realize before, I guess they have TNA story beats also happening on NXT. Like what was it? During the match, during the three-way that we were talking about, the last three-way for
Uh-huh.
the X Division,
Yes.
they were showing a thing that happened on NXT where Wesley turned on the rest of the Rascals.
Yes.
So it sounds like it's expected for I guess at least TNA fans to be watching NXT.
Right. Or actually, I think it's the opposite. I think they're expecting NXT fans to to go back and forth, right? That's the audience they're trying to get.
Well, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's not. But TNA fans probably already watch NXT, so they already knew what was going on. Because people that don't specifically watch WWE watch all other companies. Well, I won't say all other companies, but they watch more than one. Yeah, this is the thing he did right here. He's literally deadlifting the guy, and well, he's power cleaning him. Look at him. Boom.
Joe Hendry still
Big
sucks.
dude.
I'm not a fan of Joe Hendry. I've seen a lot of people do this. Like I literally
Yeah.
saw David Finlay do this to fucking Jeff Cobb, like literally yesterday.
Um,
So and it's like similar builds. Actually, you know what? Finlay's a little heftier actually.
mhm.
So again, I'm not really a fan of Joe Hendry, but it's more impressive when Finlay does it. Like I said, I it sounds like the NXT thing is working. They have talent going back, I guess, back and forth now. That's really cool. It's easier for TNA talent to go to NXT because TNA, they do this like maybe twice a month, right? But at the same time, it's just for me this doesn't work. Like it's good that the partnership is working for them, but like you said the word already. Like this is jarring. Like we don't need this. You have NXT talent or you have a TNA talent to put in this situation if you want Joe Hendry to get a win. You don't need an NXT person to come and do this. And granted, this match wasn't bad, right? This wasn't a bad match. We're not saying this match is bad.
No, no,
But
not at all.
you have other people you can put in the spot if you wanted to. You don't need to put an NXT person in here. The only reason you put
Yeah.
an NXT person here is Joe Hendry is going to be going to NXT probably within the next year. So give him more NXT people to wrestle against.
Right. And you know what? Like, and for people like just in general that like watch the last 2 weeks of TNA and then watch this week. You'll see exactly what we're talking about. You'll see the exact thing. Like there's like a contrast like when TNA is doing their thing and they're firing on all cylinders and it's an all TNA show versus a TNA with NXT included. It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't feel as good. It doesn't gel as well.
Actually, it's gonna funny enough when we get to AEW, we're actually gonna talk about like some kind of partnership stuff because there are some things that are happening over there that we can talk about. That in this episode of this podcast, we can show what the difference is for our opinion on what works and what doesn't work. Because there are some
Yeah.
things in AEW with their partnership that doesn't work for me either. But this one, the TNA NXT one, just feels so forced. And I think you know what? That's what it is. I think that's what bothers me. It doesn't feel natural.
Yeah. No, it doesn't at all. Yeah, and there's the there's the end with
This is the breakup.
Santana just wants to fight everybody.
I guess now I watched the Joe Hendry and Wolfgang match now because it was on while we were talking about it. So
Yep.
yeah, the match wasn't bad. It's just it is definitely like jarring. Like there's like it's a quick left turn once NXT people show up onto the show. Like certain NXT people. Wesley was fine last week. This week definitely definitely a little weird.
But that's because Wesley wrestled outside before and he adjusts his style to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like these guys are like they're like Dante Chin, he's a WWE system guy, right? Like he has not adapted his style outside of WWE. So
And you can tell
it's too
Wolfgang
fast.
at least has wrestled other places. You can see it.
Yeah, yeah, you can see it. Like so that's why this match wasn't wasn't bad, right? So it's just no. What a lot of times when they enter, it's just a different feel. It feels forced.
Mm-hmm. But that's really all for TNA. I think we can
Yeah.
move forward to our next segment of the episode.
Oh yeah. So we got this to AEW time.
Oh, we got 3 AEW shows to go through.
Lord Jesus. I think my longest set of notes is this first one.
I mean, this was a good
So,
match. This was a good match. So,
oh, it was a ridiculous match. Like, so, okay. Let me set this up. So, the first match for AEW Dynamite is MJF versus Kyle Fletcher. Another barn burner.
we need to real quick before we actually
Yeah.
get into the show. There were a lot of travel issues this week.
Yep.
So there were a couple people that were kind of coming in and out, and MJF kind of has like a little thing going on with him right now. We didn't talk about this earlier. I don't know if I should bring it up, so I won't for right now. But MJF drove 10 hours to get to the show so he can wrestle, and then he wrestled first.
Yeah.
So despite what he said about Michael Oku earlier today, shout out MJF.
Well, he didn't really say that about Oku. He said it about what he said was about the UK in general.
Oh no! You didn't see what happened today on Twitter.
Oh, the one thing I saw him say on Twitter was certain people walking in the streets
Yeah.
of England.
Yeah, so that wasn't great. Probably shouldn't have said that. But shout out to you for driving 10 hours to Dynamite.
I'm just gonna say he's not wrong on that one.
He's just skinny. That's all Michael Oku is. You don't have to call him what MJF called him.
Oh no, I was talking about the certain people walking around the streets of the UK.
Oh yeah, no, that is
not
true.
Wrong.
Yeah, he's not wrong, but he shouldn't be calling Michael Oku. You know what? Fuck it. He called Michael Oku a crackhead, basically, on Twitter earlier today to set up for their match that they're having. They either had now or they had like an hour ago in the UK.
They probably already had it.
But yeah, that's the thing that we were kind of alluding to. So a lot of people on Twitter are a little upset about that for good reason. Probably shouldn't be calling a black wrestler a crackhead. But you know, neither here nor there. That's not what we're here to talk about.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of that stuff had to get approved by the other person.
No, I don't know. MJF has done some dumb shit, like fucking throwing the water in the kid's face in the crowd a few months ago.
That.
Yeah. He's MJF has done some dumb shit, but yeah, again, neither here nor there. That's not what we're here to talk about.
He did 80s heel shit. You could get away with that back then, but now people just want to throw a lawsuit at you. But there is a thing on the ticket that says certain things happen. They're not responsible for it.
You can't
just remember.
You can't throw water in a child's face.
You could in the 80s, damn it.
It's 2024, Prophet.
I know. The age where all testosterone was lost, but I'll get to that some other day. Anyways, try not to get us canceled here, man. So this the first match of the AEW Dynamite is MJF versus Kyle Fletcher. Another instant. Well, you know what we were talking about earlier was the one guy, Mike Newman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being in the shadow of Ospreay and not being his own wrestler. Well, Kyle Fletcher is the example of what you do.
Exactly.
To get out of that shadow and be your own guy. And goddamn, man, Kyle Fletcher did work today. Did work in this match. He's coming out. He's starting to be a standout now, more than anything. So at the beginning of this, MJF runs to the ring, gets on the mic. Well, no, actually, so they both get into the ring. Immediately when the bell rings, MJF runs out of the ring, and he gets on the mic and he tells Kyle Fletcher to lock up with him or he's leaving. He's like, lock up like a man. And when so MJF rolls back in the ring, and then when they're about to go for a lockup, MJF kicks him in the stomach.
Dastardly.
Of course, okay, like the asshole he is, he kicked him in the stomach and didn't lock up. Um, so there was a after that, those two start going into overdrive. There was a lot of quick offense from both. MJF eventually slowed the pace down and started working on Kyle Fletcher's arm. He did this big ass shoulder breaker, like he did the he got him in the tiger, kind of like the tiger suplex or tiger, tiger driver position. Rose him up, did the shoulder breaker, and then for whatever reason he let Kyle catch his breath, uh, while playing. So he lets Kyle catch his breath, and he's sitting there playing to the crowd. And then he goes in. Then he idiotically goes for the kangaroo kick, which gets countered by a super kick from Kyle Fletcher.
Well, Kyle Fletcher is Australian. If anyone's gonna know how to beat the kangaroo kick, even though he did lose to it last year at Wembley, is going to be an Australian in Kyle Fletcher.
Of course. um, so he super kicks MJF, and then he starts to get the upper hand, and then right after that there was like a bunch of rapid two counts. Um, and then once again, there's a little bit more back and forth. Kyle gets the upper hand again, gets MJF on outside of the ring, does a big top rope moonsault. Um, and then after that, MJF gets the upper hand again, and then takes advantage of Fletcher missing an attack, in which after that, when MJF is going on the offense, Fletcher reverses, uh, and then knocks MJF over the guardrail. This is basically them fighting up the guardrail. Well, fighting into the crowd. Um, and then Fletcher, beating up MJF. He gets a big moment with the fans, and then they start working their way back down, and then gets MJF in the ring. Uh, there's a big elbow drop from the top rope for a 2 count, and then MJF starts working on the arm again. And then after this, like like every time they start, like it slows down for a second. There's a big succession of moves, and this is like no different. So after the quick succession of moves, like MJF ends the succession because I couldn't write down fast enough like the moves that they were doing to each other. He a hammerlock DDT, gets a big 2 count. Kyle Fletcher pops up, does a super kick. Um, MJF reels back from the super kick, goes to the rope, comes off the rope, does an elbow. Fletcher does an elbow, and then MJF gets on the rope, does a Panama Sunrise. Fletcher reverses. Wait, hold on. No. Oh, sorry, that was later. So MJF with a Canadian Destroyer. Fletcher is like dazed and gets up, does a big clothesline. They both are like down on the ground and laid out. um, let's see, and Fletcher, kind of tries to pin. MJF kicks out at 2, and once he kicks out, he goes straight into the salt of the earth. Fletcher reverses, that goes for another pin. MJF kicks out again, and both get up. MJF starts running at Fletcher. Fletcher scoops him up and lawn darts him into the rope, and it ends up with both of them being on the top rope, and with Fletcher reversing a Panama Sunrise into a 2 count, and Fletcher then hitting then picks MJF up, does a tombstone pile driver for a near fall, like it was like 2.9999, Don Callis gets off the mic and then gets off the commentary, gets to the ring and throws in the screwdriver. And Fletcher throws it out. MJF low blows Kyle Fletcher, does the kangaroo kick, and then does the sheer drop brainbuster, and MJF wins. Whew.
Fantastic match.
That was a damn good match. Shout out to MJF for driving 10 hours after doing a previous thing and getting there and doing the first match and then putting on a fucking burner.
Mm-hmm. And Kyle Fletcher, you can't say enough good things about Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher has always been very good at what he does. It is nice to see him getting the recognition that he deserves because he's always been fantastic. It's just now, sadly, since his partner's been hurt, he's been doing solo stuff, and he's a future world champion, easily.
Oh, easily. Even Don Callis said that.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing too, it's one of those blessings in disguise, right? You wouldn't see him doing all this if his partner didn't get hurt. Unfortunately, his tag team partner got hurt. But for him, his career took off after that.
Mm-hmm. But I'm still waiting for you, Mark Davis.
But when Mark Davis comes back, they're tag team champs.
Oh, for sure.
When he comes back, they're tag team champs.
I can't wait for that to happen.
So after the match, MJF takes the belt and blasts the ref with it. And then he puts the dynamite diamond ring on his hand and he hits Fletcher upside the head and then busts him open. And he has Fletcher in his hand. He's like, "This blood is on your hands, Will." Meanwhile, before this, they showed Will Ospreay trying to get out backstage, and his door was blocked, and he eventually got out. So Ospreay ran from the back and into the ring, and but right before that, MJF is setting up to do the Tiger Driver 91 to Kyle Fletcher, and Ospreay finally gets in, and MJF runs away. So yeah, that was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Like that whole thing, the whole package was fucking great. It's leading, they're on fire leading up to All In. Let's see, but yeah, like, what are your thoughts on that, man?
This match was really great. I'm more and more a fan of this build lately when it comes to the build between Ospreay and MJF for this. Main thing I'm hoping now is that Kyle Fletcher is good, or not Kyle Fletcher. Mark Davis is good. So in Wembley, we get the United Empire AEW. Yeah, that's what I need at the end of this.
Yeah,
but this was incredible. This is incredible. This was a really fun match to watch. AEW is very good at doing fantastic opening matches, and this continues that trend.
Yep. And they've been doing it for the past 3 weeks, so.
Mm-hmm.
So like right after this though, they played an awesome vignette, and then they're doing a lot more of these now. Like they're everywhere throughout the show. Like a bunch of vignettes for like upcoming matches and future matches, and people. It's just the AEW is stepping up their game a lot.
I love it so much. I love it so much. They've been needing to do this.
Yeah, makes it feel. Oh man, it feels like makes it feel like a wrestling show, like even more.
Mm-hmm.
So next up, we have Mariah May versus Viva Vaughn. This was literally Mariah May slaughtering Viva Vaughn.
Sadly, because I love Viva Vaughn, but she got her ass beat in this match.
Like the beginning of the match, Mariah May immediately runs over and headbutts her. Does a running headbutt. I'm like, who does that?
She's crazy.
She does a running headbutt and then does a release German suplex and then a top rope drop kick. That's like the first 3 moves Mariah May did.
I think people forget. We've said on this podcast a few times. Mariah May wrestled in Stardom, and it wasn't that
Yeah.
long ago. She was wrestling in Stardom this time last year.
Mm-hmm.
So she that is her influence. That's where she wrestles from, and I'm happy that she kept that and she didn't decide to try to change it up for American audiences because it works so well. Because it just the contrast of seeing her doing what she does in the ring, it's great.
Yeah. I think like it was that turn that was you listen to our first few episodes. It was like I was ready for it. Like I was like, yo, she needs to do this turn so she can go back to doing what she used to do.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's doing it, and she's like, she's a fucking monster now. But yeah, it was like the match ended with Mariah May doing the Storm Zero to Viva Vaughn. And yeah, so like at the very end of the match, she got sent she was given a present that was from Tony Storm. And it was like Tony Storm holding Mariah May, like that was what the picture was. But on the back of the picture it said "Die Mariah Die."
Mm.
And when she finally read that and looked up, guess who's in the ring? Tony Storm. And Tony Storm goes straight to attacking her.
The fact that it's always on site with them. We have this is what makes this build very interesting, and it's still, despite how good MJF and Ospreay has been, this is still my favorite build because these two do not give a shit. Every time they see each other, there's no talking segments. They are not in the ring talking to each other. They're trying to kill each other.
Yeah. On site.
There has not been one time since Mariah hit Tony with the shoe where they are in the ring with two mics and just talking to each other. Ever.
Nope. Nope. It's like every time Tony Storm sees her, she's going at her like 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like this, the whole thing, the whole setup and everything is great. The match did what it had to do is just showing Mariah May as a monster. And shouts to Viva Vaughn for getting out there, getting on Dynamite again.
And taking that ass whooping like a champ.
Let's see. Okay. So right after this, we got the most hilarious part of the night. So they were doing a Jack Perry vignette, right?
Mm-hmm.
And right in the middle of the Jack Perry vignette, and he is at the perfect time. So I don't know if this was actually on purpose or what. But he says something like, "Oh, what's the price you have to pay?" And then the fucking Taco Bell commercial shows up immediately right after he says that.
Oh, that definitely was not on purpose, by the way. For sure it wasn't. That was 100% accident.
Had a motherfucker wanting some Taco Bell. But yeah, like what the hell? And then or here's what the even funnier part is. So the vignette runs, he says that part, the Taco Bell commercial turns on, and then it shows the rest of the vignette, and then another Taco Bell commercial comes on.
So they just see, I didn't get to see that because I watch on Fight, so I didn't get that part at all. I got the vignette straight through.
Oh man, yeah, no, on live TV there was a Taco Bell commercial. When it says like, oh, there's a price to pay, and it's like Taco Bell. it's a whole Taco Bell commercial, and then it goes back to the vignette, and then there's another Taco Bell commercial.
They definitely played that Taco Bell commercial early, for sure. Accidental,
Yeah.
Hilarious, and accidental.
It was the same commercial, but yeah, it was hilarious. But right after that, Darby Allin has a promo, pretty much a promo, and he says, "Yo, Jack, you don't have to show up anywhere, but you don't have to show up these next few weeks. But the one place you do have to show up, you have to show up at All In, and we're gonna fight at All In." So, Darby throwing down the gauntlet with his 140-pound ass.
Mm-hmm.
He about to do a coffin drop, the coffin drop of coffin drops.
from top of Wembley Stadium all the way down.
Yep.
And he's gonna miss because it's Darby Allin.
It was Darby Allin, and then he'll get up and then do the rest of the match.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, that guy has Wolverine's healing factor. I don't know what it
I
is.
don't know how he does it. I really don't.
Like, dude literally got hit by a bus and then did a match, and then like showed up and watched a theater show. We're like, who does that?
He
And
didn't.
he already had a broken foot.
Yeah, he didn't bother going to the hospital. He got hit by the bus and was like, okay, well, gotta go to my show. And like, it's fucking weird.
It's complete insanity.
Darby is not a normal person. There's something
No.
wrong with Darby.
Okay. So next up, we got your boy, the wrestler, Katsuyori Shibata, versus Brian Keith.
The bounty hunter, not
So
the bad apple. The bounty hunter.
I didn't say any. I said Brian Keith.
I'm saying it for the people. You're good. I'm saying it for the people.
So this match starts out. It starts out quick. Um, these guys, beating the crap out of each other from the beginning of the match. And eventually Shibata gets the upper hand and then starts going to work on both of Brian Keith's arms. Um, they go outside the ring where, Keith eventually takes control. And then he starts working on Shibata's arm. So both of them are working each other's arms. They got injured. And then midway through, like Shibata, starts getting offense on Keith. Keith fired back. And then, it kind of goes into a back and forth. Shibata will get a bunch of offense. Keith will get a bunch of offense. And eventually, like at the end, Shibata gains the upper hand. Does his awesome looking flipping armbar because it just flows so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Does the flipping armbar, and immediately Brian Keith taps out. At the very end of it, Big Bill runs to the ring and starts beating up on Shibata, and then Chris Jericho jumps in, and all three of them are beating up, Shibata at the end. And Brian Keith and Big Bill are holding Shibata so Jericho can hit him with the FTW title, and the Hook signal comes up, and it's Hook.
He's back.
Hook's back. Hook runs to the ring, clears the ring, of course. Of course, Jericho runs out first. He throws Big Bill over the top rope. I think he hits Brian Keith with a move. And then, and in the ring is the FTW belt. He picks up the belt and is talking about how that's his belt. So, this is going to lead to Hook Jericho 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
With Hook getting the title back, of course. So, like, yeah, what were your thoughts on that one?
It was really cool because I like Brian Keith. I have, that's been a thing. Shibata, I've said it before. Shibata is literally one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, straight up. So it was really cool seeing them wrestle. They didn't wrestle for that long. I don't think they had to wrestle for that long, but the time that they had was really good. The Jericho stuff, whatever. But the match was fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, they both, I think it was like an 8-minute match. But
Yeah,
it did what it needed.
it didn't need to be as much as I would have enjoyed seeing like 15, 20 minutes. Not every match needs to be that. And they have time.
No.
If they want to do this again, they can do this again. But the match that they had was really good.
Yeah, they don't. There's a lot of time. There's some things people don't understand. Like every match has to be 15, the 20, 30 minutes, right? Like,
No.
especially on a main show, like on Dynamite or something like that. Um, but the matches that do get that time, that should be meaningful.
There's an art to under 10-minute matches and making them good. Like we don't really get to see that too much anymore in this day and age, but there are very fantastic sub 10-minute matches.
Well, shit. The past few weeks, speaking of TNA, they've been, that's one of the things they do a lot is the 10-minute match, 8 to 10-minute match.
Mm-hmm.
and it works out for them because it also they use it to build up a bigger match, and that's what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Oh man, but yeah, great segment. I enjoyed it a lot. Right after this, like Orange Cassidy, they had a little thing about Orange Cassidy. He was talking about all the people that had the rest of the conglomeration couldn't show up because of the uh, the travel issues that were happening because of that are still happening.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, he has two people that will join him in the 6-man tag tonight. And right after that, we have my favorite Hangman Page. Um, and Hangman Page is a man possessed. He's talking about how there's only one person he wants. There's one man he wants to get his hands on. He wants to he wants to take everything from him. And every time he tries to, 12 idiots get in his way. So, and it was this was something I quoted him saying it was, and he said this. He's like, justice denied is justice not served, and he will get what he wants. He will get justice. So, Hangman, Swerve, man, you better dodge Hangman at All In, bro.
We So here's the interesting thing, right? Right now Hangman doesn't have a match for All In,
Mhm.
but there's also a Casino Gauntlet, and
Yep.
we know for sure Ospreay is not going to be in it since Ospreay won the last two Casino Gauntlets. That's been a thing. Uh, Hangman can easily hop in here, win this, and then he gets. They phrase it as a title match at any time that they want. I don't know if it's
Oh,
gonna be like a I don't know if it's gonna be like a Money in the Bank thing. I'm not fully sure about that, but they phrased it: the winner of the Casino Gauntlet at All In gets a world title match whenever they want.
oh.
Yup.
So at the end of Danielson, so we'll go. All right. Let's lay this out. All In. Danielson Swerve. Hard fought match. Swerve wins.
Mm-hmm. Danielson retires. Rest in peace.
Danielson retires. But as like the celebration is going on way too long, we hear the whistle and we hear, Hangman's music play, and he's calling his shit right now. And he takes the title from Swerve at All In.
It's a possibility. We don't see the thing is we don't know until we'll get to Wembley. We don't know if it's going to be like a Money in the Bank type of thing. We're still
Yeah,
not
yeah.
fully sure, but that is a possibility.
But if it is, I feel like that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
If he can call it right, if it's like the call your shot, like in TNA, where you can call your shot at any time. If they're doing it like that, then I can for sure see him doing what Moose did to Josh Alexander.
Yep.
Oh man. So yeah, that was another great one. Great promo, great segment. Hangman Page is man possessed, and he's the main character of AEW. Well, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. He's the main character.
Mm-hmm.
So immediately right after this, we have the Jim Ross and Swerve. Um, Good old JR and Swerve. And I didn't like I didn't like copy down word for word like everything, but here's some of what Swerve was some of what they were talking about. So one of the things Swerve mentioned was he talks about his path from All In last year to this year. Last year he was wrestling in a tag match against two legends. This year he's the main event. He went from wrestling a tag match somewhere on the card to being the main event this year.
Mm-hmm.
And when you take that in perspective, that shit's huge,
And
right?
he lost that tag match. It was him and Christian versus Sting and Darby in a coffin match, and
Yes,
Swerve is the one that lost that match.
yes. So yeah, man, like you go from that to this right now. It's a hell of a change. It's a hell of a come up, man. Shout out to Swerve though for that.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a few things that caught me like that he quoted. Well, I don't know if I quoted it word for word, but I'm gonna say kinda right. So Jim Ross asked him a question, but he's like, you know what? Everybody's was afraid of me becoming world champion because now that I am world champion, I control the narrative and I control the fate of this company.
Yeah.
Um, and then Jim Ross asked him, so he says like Brian Danielson is a dangerous man, and he can win the title at any time, and you know, and with the things that he can do to you. But Swerve retorts, and he's like, no. See, everyone is worried. Everybody talks about the pain that they can inflict on someone else. What happens when it doesn't work? And then he starts going into a lot of Brian's medical issues. What happens if his arm doesn't work? What happens if his legs give out? What happens if, he runs out of gas? He's like, I'm not going to hesitate to do the kill shot, to take
Mm-hmm.
the kill shot. And then he asked Swerve, like, to end the segment. He's like, can you beat Brian Danielson at Wembley? And this is like one of the best lines in it. He's like, not only can I beat him, I will beat him, and then his legacy will belong to me.
That's a really
His
super villain thing to say, Swerve.
Yeah. But that's some cold shit, man. It's like not only do I beat you, but your whole fucking legacy, it belongs to me now. Your legacy belongs to me because I retired you.
I mean, I never really thought about it until he said it, but that is a really interesting way to see title or a stake versus a career match, right? If you beat
Right.
someone for their career, I mean, that's it, right? If
Yeah, you ended their legacy.
that's their legacy, like that is
Yeah.
it. You did it. You ended their legacy. No matter what anyone could say, you now own that because you stopped it. You killed it.
Yep. Oh no.
What happened?
Okay. I just thought of something. That's why I'm saying oh no.
Oh, let's go for it.
Okay. So what if okay, so here's thing number 2 of the casino battle royal if they can call their shot at any time.
Mm-hmm.
So what if like midway through that match, Hangman comes down, costs Swerve the title, right? He costs Swerve the title, causes him to lose his thing. And then he cashes in and then he beats Bryan. So he robbed Swerve twice.
Wait, I mean, that would be like the best way to get out of this, right? If you wanted Danielson to wrestle going forward, and if he didn't like break it like every other wrestler breaks the title versus career thing,
Yeah.
you can easily have Swerve lose to Danielson, and while Danielson is celebrating, Hangman come out and beat him, and because that way, the career Danielson's career is not on the line there. Danielson had finished the title versus career, he won, so he can still wrestle, and that just makes another
Yeah.
enemy out of Swerve and Hangman. Plus, Hangman and Danielson do have history. They did wrestle each other a couple times for the world title.
Yeah. But yeah, that would be a little interesting dynamic. But he technically takes from Swerve what Swerve wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
He takes two things. He wanted to beat Danielson, and he wants to and he takes his world title. He takes the title.
Yeah.
And he's taking everything from him. Or he costs him the match and then does it. right?
Oh yeah,
So
he could easily just
he's
cost him the
directly
match.
because like whatever Hangman does, he wants to be directly responsible. He wants to be the guy responsible for doing it.
Hmm.
So I can see Hangman costing him the match, and then Brian Danielson wins, and then he just beats Danielson and takes the title. And now Swerve has to chase him for the title, and Danielson has to chase him for the title.
Yeah. It would be an interesting like we talked about it. Like there are a lot of ways that this can play out. The Casino Gauntlet definitely just increases the amount of ways that this can go, but that's
Mm-hmm.
what makes this match crazy. This is why this is a very good main event because there's so many possibilities that can happen from this alone. Because we don't even have to add Hangman to this. Hangman's the obvious one, but there are a lot of other people that don't like
Yeah.
Swerve either. Like a lot of people can
Oh
come out
yeah.
here and they can take this from Swerve because of what Swerve has done before. And Swerve's kind of
Mm-hmm.
right now he's kind of reverting back to being an asshole a little bit. Like Swerve has never we've talked about it before. Swerve has never really been like the guy to wear like the good guy hat all the time. We just love him for what he says and what he does, but he's never really been good.
Oh no. He's been either bad or gray.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
A
Like,
lot of people can ruin this for Swerve.
yeah. But yeah, like that whole like I actually recommend like watching the whole interview between him and Jim Ross. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if, for people that haven't watched it or just listening to the show for the highlights. But yeah, for sure, watch that interview. It's great. Um, and Swerve says some good shit in there. Like he, and showing why he's the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So next up, this is one of those matches where I just didn't take notes because it was too much. The six-man tag match between Orange Cassidy and FTR versus Roosh, Roderick Strong, and Mortos. Man, the first thing I got was Dax and Roosh start. And then complete fucking insanity happened, and then they just started going off. there was, I can tell you, there was tons of action in this match. Um, like there was tag moves going. Like if you guys were like playing like uh, uh, a wrestling game and you all had your finishers, like finishers were going off everywhere, tag moves were going off everywhere. Like everybody was. This match was compared to all the other ones that were just controlled chaos. This was like a car crash. You couldn't stop watching it.
AEW's been doing this kind of match, like these 6-man, 8-mans, a lot lately. And I've really been enjoying everyone that they've done. Like, to be fair, a lot of them have the same people in it, so it kind of works either way. But it is really nice to see just like chaos, and we don't have to break down every match all the time. That's fine. Like
Yeah.
this is just one of those matches that's like really fun to watch because there's a lot going on.
Oh yeah, there's like stuff going on anywhere, everywhere. Like there was a ton of action. I'll just put it like that. There was a ton of action.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, watch this match. Like all these guys in the match are awesome. So, of course, the match ends with Orange Cassidy and FTR winning. At the very end of it, the Acclaim come out and right when the Acclaim were about to get to the ring, like I think their mic was busted, so they couldn't talk.
Good.
Max Caster was trying to talk and the mic was broken, so Dax was like, "Hey, you know what? I'm not as eloquent in words with you. Break through security and let's fight." And they were trying to fight out and fight each other through security, and that was like pretty much the end of that. It was a fun match, like super fun match. Good result. Setting up for the inevitable possible three-way, but who knows?
We'll talk about that pretty soon, actually.
Yeah. Next up is the house. So there was it pretty much got announced. House of Black versus Bullet Club Gold for number one contenders in the trios match. Oh yeah, this was a Christian Cage segment.
Mm-hmm.
So in the patriarchy, to for either team to be the number one contenders for the trios match at All In, and for whoever wins that match. And Christian appointed himself the special guest referee. God knows, we already know it's not going to go any way favorable for either team.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, great. It's Christian Cage. Can't go wrong. That dude's on point. Um, Next up, again another vignette, hologram. Showing all the crazy shit he's been doing on Collision. Again, hyping up the boy. Hologram. Hologram's the shit.
The Collision Ace, the now Collision Ace.
Yep. I'll call him Captain Collision, man.
Yep, that's it. Yeah. When you hear that on Collision this week, you know where it came from. It came from this podcast.
Yep, Captain Collision, man. All right. So next up, we have Camille versus. All right, Jasmine Howe and Clara Carter.
Hot local talent.
Local talent. And what else can I say other than Camille killed both of them? There was one point where one was trying to put her in the sleeper hold, and she carried her across the ring and then beat the shit out of the other girl in the corner while the girl was on her back.
Yup.
And then eventually tossed that girl off her back, did a sit-out fucking powerbomb, and then on the other one did a tower hacker powerbomb, and then pins both of them. Yeah, she looked like a fucking monster here.
Straight pure dominance.
Yeah, like she just destroyed those guys, those two. So, again, Mercedes takes the mic. She talks about Britt Baker being suspended, and then Tony Schiavone interrupts, saying Tony Khan has overruled the Young Bucks and lifted Britt Baker's suspension. And right now, there's a message from Britt Baker, and Britt Baker cuts a little thing and kind of like brings Mercedes WWE stuff into it, which I guess they must have talked about this before, but either that or just Britt's being an asshole. Yeah, so it's basically hyping up the match at All In, and basically Britt's like, "Hey, I'm showing up next week, and there's nothing that's gonna stop me from getting my hands on you." So yeah, there's that.
We don't have to stick on this one for too long, but I noticed something while watching this Britt promo and then thinking about all the other stuff that she said.
Yeah.
Britt is only really a good promo when she's being a mean girl and running people down.
Yep.
That's really it. I didn't even think about that or notice it until this, because you brought up the WWE thing. Like, oh, you drop your ball and go home. Like, no, that's not even what happened then, by the way. Like, that's not even how that whole thing went.
It's not even close to how it went.
No. But of course, I'm fully sure that they talked about this before. Like 100%. There's no way that Britt just did that and just said it to say it. If she did, Britt already has like a thing where people think she's a piece of shit, right? So like if this wasn't like talked about, which I'm assuming it was, that would be kind of a problem.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, it's like, okay, it's fine, for the spot, but if your only way of getting somewhere is just running down your competition, well, I'm not gonna say, because you're a heel. If you're a heel, you're supposed to, right?
Britt's technically not the heel here. It's Mercedes.
Yeah, and she's doing heel shit. So it's like, but there's a way of doing it without saying, oh, everybody is fucking garbage and I'm the best. It's like, well, if everybody's garbage, then that means you're garbage too because you're only beating garbage,
Yeah. There was
right?
someone said that. I forget exactly where and I forget who said it, so I apologies. But someone was saying if like I don't even think it was a wrestling thing. Someone was saying if you're beating people or you're doing things and they're all shit, you're not any better. Like I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what that person said for whatever that was. So if you can't talk up your opponent, I mean, what's the point? So congratulations, you beat someone that's also bad. You haven't proved anything. Good job.
Yeah. So if they're bad, you're bad.
Exactly.
So, uh, you know, I don't know, but it's been the thing she's been doing since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I don't know. I personally don't like it. I guess that's her style, and then there's people that like it. So whatever. Personally, I don't like it, and I just don't think it's effective because eventually, okay, this other person is a 5-time world champion, right? You've only been a champion here, but this person is a 5-time world champion, has been a world champion everywhere they've been. And then you're trying to talk like they're shit. No, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Like it also kind of falls flat, like Britt talking about like what happened in WWE because at the time, like Mercedes, Sasha at the time, and Bailey were basically running things at that time. Then what was it? Mercedes, Sasha at the time was a tag team champion, and they should have more say in what they were doing. We don't have to get
Oh,
into the
no,
full story, but
that's Mercedes and Trinity.
yeah, we don't have to talk about the full story. But at the time, Mercedes was one of the people that was helping run WWE during the pandemic. They were one of the best things that were happening during the pandemic. So, Britt, you can't say that you've done that. You've never been to that height. Not even in AEW. You might have been the first woman signed, but that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean a goddamn thing. You're not even top 10 in the division right now.
Yeah, no,
So,
especially not right
yeah. So, congratulations. You did the mean girl thing. You talked about Mercedes past. Woo. That doesn't do anything at the end of the day.
yeah, no, it's just you got to find a way to, um, and whatever works for you, right? Like, hey, I'm not the guy out there on the mic,
Yeah, we're not wrestlers. We're not wrestlers for a reason.
but I'm a fan of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and not being able to acknowledge your opponent or, um, just again saying everybody is trash or just being bringing up internet shit. Eventually you're going to run out of material, right? Like if you can't do anything other than that, then and then on top of that your wrestling isn't good. Sorry, I'm going to be that fucking guy. Your wrestling's terrible.
That was
You're
the promo part was the problem with MJF for a while because all the MJF's promos started sounding the same to the point where everyone who was on the mic against him was just bringing up that he was going to say some internet shit and do whatever he was going to do because that's all he really did.
Yeah, and then he evolved to he eventually got out of that after the Adam Cole program with him and Adam Cole. That's when all the shit changed.
Mm-hmm.
But talking about Britt right now, she doesn't even have the wrestling to back it up, right?
Mm-mm.
So, and compared to every woman in that, almost all the women in that division right now, she doesn't hold the candle to most of them. So, I'm sorry, like you talking shit. It just means a lot less now. It doesn't mean a whole lot when you're literally the worst wrestler in the division.
Yep.
And I'm not talking about promo wise. I'm talking about actual wrestling. You're in a company that's wrestling first, and you're the worst wrestler, one of the worst.
We talked about it a few weeks ago. We sat here and we ran down a good chunk of the women's division in AEW, and we couldn't really think of one person at the time that Britt was better than in the ring.
Yeah, and she actually needs to like do what? Oh, let me shout out Anna J real quick. Shout outs to Anna J.
Oh
Going out
yeah.
there, doing her thing in Japan right now. And getting getting more seasoned to actually and becoming a better wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Britt needs to do something like that. She needs to do a Japan excursion or something.
Realistically, because she's still working her day job also while doing this, and that's commendable. She went to college. She is a doctor. That's great.
So wrong with that.
Dental high. She's doing dentistry. Great. But if you want to be better, you people said it. She's even said it. You can't really do both worlds, and it's great that you've been juggling both worlds at this time. Fantastic. At some point, unless you just want to be where you are, and if you want to be where you are, that's perfectly fine. But you have to just know that everyone who is dedicated to doing one thing are going to eventually pass you. Even people who are signing recently, like you will just be passed by because you can't dedicate as much time to your craft as they can. You just can't.
Yeah, like yeah, I don't. You said it eloquently.
I've been working on it. I've been working on it.
But yeah, man, like that's that's kind of my take on it. We spent I think we spent long enough though on that. So
Main
let's
event
get
time.
the main event. And boy, oh boy, this was. See, I've been talking about how good Jeff Jarrett is.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to believe me. And then Jeff Jarrett and Bryan Danielson put on a classic.
I also need to apologize to Bryan Danielson because I said don't go into the ring until All In because I don't want to see you out there doing some stupid shit. I apologize. You were right. You're the GOAT for a reason.
He's the GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
No, don't talk bad about the GOAT.
Yeah, no, I definitely was like, motherfucker, do not get in this ring. I said on the podcast last week, I was like, this fucking asshole's gonna get in the ring with Jeff Jarrett in a no disqualification. I was wrong. I can admit when I'm wrong.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Like he's with a professional in the Last Outlaw, Jeff Jarrett.
Oh yeah, that was the safest match I've ever seen.
Yep. And man, like all right, let's just go through it. Like
Break it down.
so Brian is walking down to the ramp. Well, he's not even down the ramp. He's on the thing. He's has his hands up like bracing the fans and stuff. And immediately Jeff Jarrett comes from the back and hits him with a guitar. And then he starts beating Bryan Danielson up and throws him in the ring. And then again my favorite phrase, chaos ensues.
Mm-hmm.
They start fighting everywhere. They're fighting in the stands. They fought into they're fighting into the crowd. They went up to the concessions. At one point, Brian suplexed Jeff Jarrett into one of those hard ass trash cans. Not those ones that fold, them hard steel ones that you see all around, all around like, you'll see them at a park, you'll see them at a fucking in the inside stadiums and things like that. Those really hard ones.
The actual
The
trash
hard
cans that people use to throw trash in, not the like Prophet said, not the metal one that will bend when you hit it. Actual trash cans.
Yeah, and he suplexed him into that, and the thing bounced out, like flew out. It didn't even break, man. And like I think at one point Jarrett threw it at him too, threw it at Brian. Like this match was great. It was just complete insanity.
It was
Like
so
throughout the
good,
whole
bro.
match.
It was
It
so
was so
good.
damn good. But as they went through eventually, towards the end, Danielson I think put a chair behind him, put a chair behind Jarrett, and then he had another chair in his hand, and then he did the Busakai knee to Jarrett's face, and then pins him with the 1, 2, 3. But one of the things I wanted to talk about was like the at the end of the match, it was kind of like a good image though, because like Jeff Jarrett was busted open from the back of his head,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
behind his ear. And and it had, we had Ricky Steamboat raising both of their hands. And then, you know, it ain't the main event without the boy there.
the boogeyman
So
of AEW.
the boogeyman of AEW, of course, appeared. And if you don't know, like last week, it is Swerve Strickland. And he comes to the ring and basically he's like, you know what? You had yourself a warm up match for All In. I'm gonna have me a warm up match too, and I'm gonna choose my warm up partner, and it's gonna be Wheeler Yuta.
Mm,
So next week we are getting Wheeler Yuta versus Swerve,
mm.
and
That, sh-
that shit's gonna be good.
that should be a real good one.
Yeah, it's gonna be a damn good one. Um, and a little bit after this, there was more shit that happened in the back. So Jared is coming back to the back, and of course, I'm the insane cowboy himself, Hangman Adam Page, pops out and starts beating up Jeff Jarrett.
Bro. Oh my god.
He just beats. He finds somebody random and just beats the shit out of him. And today it was Jarrett, which is gonna lead. So that happens, and then into the same scene, Tony Storm and Mariah May are still fighting, and they're fighting, and security's trying to break them up.
It
So
it is it, when you think about it, that means Tony and Mariah were fighting for like over an hour.
they were fighting this whole time.
They were backstage fighting the entire time. From when they both were in the ring fighting each other to when they left, they have been fighting the entire time. That means whenever they are in the same building together, they will find each other and they will fight.
Yep, on site.
Oh my god.
So, after this, there's something that did come out of this though. Jay Lethal was pissed off that Hangman Adam Page jumped Jeff Jarrett at the end. Jumped Jeff Jarrett in the back, and he's like, "Hey, you've been doing this shit for way too long. So now it's gonna be me versus you next week."
Mm-hmm.
I think it's on Collision.
No, it's gonna be on it's gonna be on Dynamite. They talked a little bit about it on
Okay,
Collision. It's gonna be on Dynamite.
okay, I thought it was gonna be on Collision. Okay, yeah, Dynamite. So the boy Jay Lethal is getting a singles match. Let's go.
It's about goddamn time.
And yeah, that was the show, man. Like overall, top to bottom, again, AEW did his thing. It's a good lead up show. Um, it was a good show, just overall, top to bottom. Like everything was happening.
Yeah, like we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, but AEW has been like on a really big stride with Dynamite specifically. They've been on a really big roll since Forbidden Door, and that just hasn't really let up. Even before Forbidden Door, like maybe a couple weeks before Forbidden Door, but
I think it was like the month before Forbidden Door.
mm-hmm.
They just went on the streak and they haven't stopped.
Which is fantastic. This has been for a while. AEW Dynamite has been kind of hit and miss for a while, since maybe around like mid 2022, early 2023. Like they have not been super consistent. This has been the most consistent stretch that I can remember since like the pandemic days. It's been great to watch.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah, it's been real good to watch, man.
But yeah, that's Dynamite.
That's Dynamite. Great show. I recommend you guys check it out.
We are gonna do the speed run of Collision and Rampage real quick. We're gonna knock those out.
Okay.
To start with Rampage, we had Darby Allin wrestling against the Butcher, Big Butch.
Big Butch.
I actually wrote notes, which is weird. I'm never doing this again. but basically Darby got his ass beat for 10 minutes. That's what this match was until the end. At the end, Darby and Butcher were on the top rope. Darby bites Butcher in the face, claws his back, gives him an avalanche code red, and then hits a coffin drop on Butcher's back to win. He had to do a lot of shit to do it, but Darby got his ass beat this entire match, pretty much. That was the match. That was all there really was.
Oh man. Yeah, it can't go wrong. I like the Butcher.
I do too. And Darby is one of my favorite wrestlers to see get beat up. Just straight up. I love seeing Darby get beat up. I enjoy watching Darby Allin. I enjoy watching him win, but seeing him get beat up reminds me of Spike Dudley. He knows how to get beat up in a wrestling match, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. It does remind me of Spike Dudley, but man, they were legit hurting Spike Dudley though, man.
Oh yeah, no. It was completely different. They were very rough on Lil Spike. After Darby Allin, we had a promo segment with Roosh and Don Callis in the back. On Dynamite, Prophet talked about it. Roosh lost the match, the 6-way or the 6-man tag. Don Callis was very upset that Roosh lost. Roosh wants to prove himself to Don Callis, which but Don Callis set up a match between Roosh and Preston Vance, and they used to be boys, and that was going to be happening on Collision. So it happened on Saturday.
Okay.
And Don Callis said he did not just want to see Roosh win, he wanted to see Roosh hurt Preston Vance.
Yeah.
And that's all for that.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
We got to break up LIJ. Not LIJ, but
whatever they call it, like LFO, whatever it is.
Yeah, LFI, LFO, what?
Something.
They got to break that shit up.
They haven't been on TV together in a long time anyway, so it just makes sense to just chop it up and move on. So that's basically what happened on Collision, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Next up was a Jay Lethal promo. We actually kind of talked about it already, where Jay is challenging Hangman for a match of Dynamite. Don't really have to get more into it. Nice to see Jay Lethal wrestle.
Yes, thank goodness.
Next match was Wheeler Yuta versus Rocky Romero. As Prophet said earlier, Swerve challenged Wheeler Yuta to a match for Dynamite. So Wheeler gets a little chance to wrestle. He gets to wrestle against Rocky Romero. Rocky is a fantastic wrestler, always has been. This match was great. The match ended with Yuta winning, but he hit a cross-leg tombstone on Rocky, and then hit what I think they're like the hammer and nail elbows, but I'm just gonna call them the BCC elbows right now. In transition into the cat mutilation for Rocky to tap out.
Oh man,
very good technical match. The match was fantastic to watch. We talked about it earlier. It's one of those sub 10-minute matches that's really good to watch. That was it.
Yeah, good shit.
After that, we had a Willow promo where actually this was my favorite segment of the night, despite matches and everything. Willow was talking. She was very upset, talking about how Stat used to be and how Stat has completely changed since meeting Stokely. And while she's talking, Tomohiro Ishii pops into the screen, and he calls Stokely an idiot in Japanese. So Willow's like, "Oh, Big Tom, do you have any plans for Wembley?" And they walk off. Which we're going to talk more about that during Collision.
Yay.
The next match was Private Party versus Local Talent. They are Zane and Dave Dawson. This was just, we don't have to talk about this match too much. This was just a match for Private Party to win. Zane and Dave, they did a little bit of dancing with Private Party first, but ended up, finishing the match like 6 minutes. Wasn't too bad. Mm-hmm. It was a good to see Private Party win. That's all that match really was.
Yeah.
And then next up, we have a Deonna Purrazzo promo. And this Rampage was very promo heavy, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
Very necessary and very needed and very much enjoyable.
Okay.
Deanna, her presentation is like different now. She's sitting. I think she did it last week also, and I don't think I talked about it last week. But she's sitting in like a dark room with candles and wine, and it looks like she's in like a big chair behind her, like kind of throne ish. And
Mm-hmm.
she was basically running down Thunder Rosa, saying that Rosa, basically, you ain't shit. I've beaten you 3 times. I'm the virtuosa, so anything you put in my hands, I can make it into a weapon, and you're gonna lose in the match that we're gonna have on Saturday, which I will talk about more during the collision wrap up.
Okay. So just to kind of comment on that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we were just talking about something similar where she, with the Britt Baker thing. This is different though. This is a lot different when the Thunder Rosa, well, Deanna Prazo talking about Thunder Rosa. Um, like the context is different. She's not like bringing in past shit. She's just talking about wrestling wise. She beat her, which is why it's like she's like, well, it's pretty much a why am I fighting you again and I beat you 3 times
Mm-hmm.
type deal versus oh this thing that happened over here and I'm gonna run you down and shit like that. There's a difference between the two.
Yeah.
Just to like tell people there is a difference.
Like you were saying, there is a way to run down your opponent without like completely killing them. We've
Right.
talked about with Swerve. Swerve has done a good job with it too. Swerve has called Danielson like the best wrestler alive, right? That's a good way to say it. But he's also saying that Swerve is saying that he's better. Like there are a lot of ways to talk about your opponent without
Mm-hmm.
making them seem like straight losers. And Deanna does a really good job about that. I didn't even realize Deanna could really talk the way she did until now, and it was fantastic to see.
Oh yeah, she was doing it in there was a long period where she was doing it in Impact.
Sadly, I wasn't watching too much Impact at that time. It was like on and
Yeah.
off for me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Next, we had another promo with Dustin Rhodes. Very short. Dustin is calling out Taven and Bennett, the Undisputed Kingdom, for a tag title match because Dustin and Sammy Guevara had won a match on Ring of Honor the previous night. Taven and Bennett come in and they low blow him after like a little bit of back and forth. So that match is probably going to be happening at some point. We don't know when. More than likely going to be a Ring of Honor thing. But that happened.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And we go on to the main event of Rampage, which is Saraya versus Nyla Rose. Saraya is trying, yeah. Saraya is trying
With
to.
Harley.
Oh yeah, with Harley Cameron. Like Harley was there, and whatever. Saraya is trying to find her way into Wembley, into All In, so she can have a match. Because right now she has nothing planned. Without going too far into the match, because we don't really have to, because it's Saraya. She has gotten better, but it's still not that great. The match ends with Nyla trying to superplex Saraya into the ring, but Harley grabs Nyla's legs, pulls her down, and basically holds her legs down while Saraya is getting the pin for Saraya to get the win.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing really to talk about the match. It was cool seeing Nyla, but other than that, just the match.
Oh, there is one part where Harley Cameron's telling her to hit her with the Rampage.
Oh, I wrote that down too. I'm like, oh, hit her with them. It's like, it's not called that. It's been 2 years.
This move isn't called that anymore.
I think Rampage can be a lot of fun for that reason because they can just kind of do that kind of thing. But yeah, it's that was
It's kind of a house show.
yeah, pretty much. That's all really that happened in the match. I definitely wanted Nyla to win this one. Kind of figured she wasn't going to anyway, but still sad to see.
Yeah.
Any Rampage thoughts?
Overall, didn't seem too bad. It felt like it felt like a lot of setup for Collision.
It pretty much was. There was a lot of promos during this, which was surprising. But again, kind of needed. It was nice to see. None of the promos lasted longer than 2 minutes. Everyone really came in and came out and did what they had to do, and there wasn't really a bad promo in the bunch of them.
Yeah. So what I'm really waiting for, TK to finally announce that the everything is on HBO Max now.
I'm hoping it happens soon. I'm guessing we're gonna get like something around All In. Hopefully.
Yep. Possibly.
Yeah, we're gonna move on to Collision. This was actually like a really stacked Collision. A lot was going on. We don't have to. I don't have to go super hard on it, but we can start with uh, Captain Collision, Hologram, and Darby Allin took on the Premier Athletes, which are Tony Nese and Josh Woods.
Nice.
Very very fun match. The one thing that I really want to note though is that Hologram wasn't really super flippy. Like we've known Hologram for like the last month to just be a bunch of doing a lot of high flying, and his grounded stuff was there but wasn't really highlighted. This match, he was a lot more grounded.
Yeah.
Like to the point where I forget what the pin's called, but like he did to win the match. Hologram did like a seatbelt pin on Josh Woods. He didn't
nice.
He didn't really do a lot of flying. He was a lot more grounded this match. Darby did like a little bit more flying than Hologram did. But overall, it was a really good match, and it just showed how good Hologram is. Not just for being a high flyer, like all around, he's fantastic in the ring.
Oh yeah, like, but it also makes sense too because not Tony Nese, the other guy, Josh Woods.
Josh Woods.
Josh Woods is actually one of those guys I want to see more of, like in there because he's actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of matches that dynamic of those two, right? He kind of like matches style to those two guys. And with Josh Woods, since he's more of a grounded guy, it looks like he grounded himself for that.
I think it worked out really well too, because we got to see a different side of Hologram here.
Mm-hmm.
And now they just have Hologram teaming with random people now, which is also fantastic. So he teamed with Mystico last week. Now he's teamed with Darby Allin. So you know AEW sees him, as they should, very highly. I'm excited to see what he does next.
Captain Collision.
Captain Collision. Next up, two quick segments. We had a promo for Diana Purrazzo and Thunder Rosa. They're doing a Texas Bull Rope match. I don't know if we talked about that a little bit. I'll talk about the rules a little bit later once we get there, actually in a minute. Dustin Rhodes talked over it, which was nice because the very first Texas Bull Rope match, Dustin's dad was in it. Dusty Rhodes.
Rhodes, yep.
So it was really cool to see. Plus, Dustin just has like a really awesome voice for voiceover for this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it worked out really well.
Yeah.
From there, we went into the Texas Bull Rope match, which was Thunder Rosa, who came out to her old music again, which was awesome. I know. I don't know why she was waiting. I don't know what she was doing before, but that music that she was doing last month was bullshit. Don't bring it back, Thunder. If you're listening to this, please don't bring it back.
Bring out that Mexican death metal, dude. Just yes. Just come out to that every time.
I feel like her entrance music fired her up for this match because she was also like she was on one in this match, which was great.
Yeah.
To explain really quick what a Texas Bull Rope match is, it's a both opponents are tied together via the wrist with a bull rope that has a cowbell in the middle of it. The cowbell is really just there to be a weapon. Mainly, the opponents are just stacked up next to each other. They can't go far from each other. It's like maybe a foot long rope, so you're just kind of stuck together. You can do anything goes, and you can win by pinfall or submission.
Yep.
And boy, did they do some shit in this match.
Hell yeah.
I'm not gonna go through all of it. A couple things. Thunder and Diana got busted open. Both were kind of brutal. Both because of the cowbell, really. The cowbell was used a lot. We had a lot of chairs involved in this match. Like, there was a point where Diana was on the top rope, choking out Thunder with the rope. Thunder gets out and then throws Diana with the rope onto a stack of chairs.
Yeah.
Looked vicious. There's another point where Thunder put a chair in Diana's face and drop kicked the shit out of that chair.
Yeah.
Like, god damn, that shit looked like it hurt. But for the match to end, we're not going to talk about Thunder Rosa almost forgetting to kick out. We don't have to talk about that because something happened. You know, her gear messed up. But to end the match, Diana was put through a table from the middle rope via a bulldog, and then Thunder Rosa hit the Fire Thunder driver, which she hasn't really hit in a while, which Tony Schiavone called a shoulder breaker, which was funny because it's not wrong, but you know, whatever.
This Fire Thunder is not a shoulder breaker at all, though.
Yeah, she didn't use a knee at all to do it, but yeah, that's what Tony Schiavone called it.
It's not like Michael Cole calling everything a snapmare back in the day. So yeah.
Oh yeah, no. At least it's not that. It was still funny. And Thunder got the win. So the score is Diana 3, Thunder 1. But Thunder was very happy to win that match.
I think that's probably the end of it, though, because the end of those two going at it. Because you don't bring out the Texas Bull Rope unless you're ending it.
Yeah, they had already had a couple hardcore stipulations at this point too, so it should be done. Do you have any thoughts on that match at all?
One, I'm a fan of both.
Mm-hmm.
I like Thunder Rosa. I like Deonna Purrazzo. And they did nothing, they did nothing short but like kick ass. And yeah, it was a great match, like all around. And it was great to see them do the bull rope match. Like, companies like WWE is afraid to do it, but I'm glad, like, it's one thing AEW isn't afraid to do, because unlike those companies that think women should not do matches like that, they just call it self-mutilation, but they let guys do it. Whatever. You look at some of the biggest style of those matches in Japan where women actually bleed and stuff like that. They did them in Japan and like the big companies. So, yeah, I like that AEW gives the women's wrestlers that freedom. If they want to do it, go do it.
Yeah, man, they're not afraid of history. It's really dope.
Yeah. So I think that's good.
Next up, we had a video package for the Outrunners. In my notes, I said this, and these are my notes exactly. The promo package is very 80s and hilarious. It literally has that 80s filter over it with 80s video transitions, and that's what it was.
And they were doing 80s shit, like working out and doing stuff in like random places in public and shit.
They took this dude's hat and they were like throwing it between each other.
Yeah.
They're like bullies. Like, it was hilarious.
It was hilarious. They're doing 80s shit. Yes.
And that leads us to the oldest young man match I have ever seen in my life. FTR versus the Outrunners. And boy, oh boy, did I enjoy the shit out of this match, bro. Oh my god. This was yeah, like you said, this was a throwback. This was an 80s style match in present day.
Yeah.
I need the Outrunners on my screen more often. Put them on TV every week. Give them vignettes. Give them whatever you got to do. Put them on TV more.
Yes. 100%. Yes.
Plus the fact that I can't tell how old they are. And it's actually, they kind of talked about it in commentary also on the YouTube video. It's also called like, it's like the youngest guys alive versus FTR, or top guys versus youngest guys ever. Like, I can't tell if they're 20 or 60. And it is great. They look like they were literally ripped out from the 80s.
Yeah, no, yeah, literally. It's great.
But FTR won this match. It was actually kind of smart. Dax had the pin on one. I don't know which one is which. I know that it's Turbo Floyd and I don't know which one's which yet. I will figure it out eventually. But Dax was pinning one of them. One of the Outrunners came in and tried to break up the pin. Dax moved. We got a dope suplex from Cash on one of them. And they hit the Shatter Machine on the other to get the 1, 2, 3 and win the match.
Nice.
The match was fun, bro. Like, just this made me a big fan of the Outrunners. They've been on TV before. They've done matches, but this is, at least on AEW TV, this is the most that we actually got to see them, and it, they're against one of the best tag teams on the planet, so they looked really good either way. Just fun.
Well, I think we'll talk about it later about the tag titles, but yeah, it's the reason why the tag championship should be on TV more often, or have a team that wants to go on TV and wrestle, and do that, because it showcases teams like this.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about it for sure. Actually, you know what? We got to talk about it right now, because at the end of this match, it was announced that on Dynamite we will be getting the Young Bucks versus the Acclaimed for the tag titles on Dynamite on Wednesday.
Nice.
So go ahead.
Oh yeah, and I was like, and there it is.
Mm-hmm. It's actually going to be a little bit different, because we expected, and it still could happen. It's not like it's gone, but we expected the 3-way between FTR, the Bucks, and the Acclaimed at Wembley, which it still can happen. But I would like to see where they go from here, because I don't think the Acclaimed is winning the tag titles. But I don't think they're losing the match either. Does that make sense? Like, it doesn't seem like they're gonna lose this match. It feels like it's gonna be a disqualification thing.
It could be, or they could lose the match.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. But either way, even if they lose, they can still do this at All In. But realistically, I would just prefer, I don't know. I definitely don't want to see FTR and the Bucks again. As much as that match is gonna be fantastic, that was literally the tag match last year, and we don't need to be rehashing when we have such a stacked division.
Yeah.
Not really a fan of watching the Bucks and the Acclaimed either. I'm not a fan of Axcaster. Bowens is a different story.
Yeah, Bowens is good.
Yeah. So I would like to see where they're gonna go, especially considering that we only have like 2 weeks to Wembley. We could have had a better build for the tag title match.
Yes.
And the fact that we still don't even know what the tag title match is going to be at Wembley, to me, is a little bit of a problem. But we'll probably find out on Wednesday.
Yep, we'll find out.
Mm-hmm. But that's it. After this match and after the announcement, we got a promo between Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne. Basically, this promo was to set up a match between them on Rampage for Friday. So that's going to be happening on Friday. And Nick Wayne is basically his father's son, because he just was talking shit about Kip's dead dad. And that's really what that promo was.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mini Christian.
That's kind of scary.
Yes, even start coming out in turtlenecks.
Oh, God. An 18-year-old in turtlenecks is the scariest thing I think I would see on TV.
Make it happen.
Let's go. God. After that, we had the match between Roosh and Preston Vance. Short match. Very hard hitting. Roosh beat the shit out of Preston, bro. Oh my God. Like, we saw the start of the match just now. It started with Preston trying to do the Los Ingos thing where they put their fist up.
Yeah.
and Roosh just slugged him. And it was a very short match. It ended with Roosh doing the bull's horns, which is a drop kick while they are sitting in the corner. Roosh wins the match, but then Roosh goes back and does it again to Preston, and then is trying to get like a rope and beat the shit out of him, but he got separated.
Right.
Meanwhile, Don Callis is watching, and Don Callis seems to enjoy this, which I'm not a fan of Roosh doing this to impress Don Callis, but hey, just like Jericho, gotta get on TV somehow. That's real.
Well,
Oh, good.
I think like for the longest time, like, well, Roosh is, in general, Roosh is known for doing it, doing that, like just being brutal as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the thing of when he first came in. People are like, "Oh, you guys are gonna have Roosh? You know how brutal that guy is?
Yeah.
How hard he is." And so, yeah, I think it's just him doing his thing. It might not agree with him like trying to impress Don Callis and try to be the Don Callis family. And I actually don't mind the Don Callis family because, like I said before, certain people need a mouthpiece, and Don Callis can actually talk. So
Yeah.
it can get people, where they need to without doing the Jericho thing and kind of putting them in a shit vortex.
That is true.
So yeah, I for Roosh, I think it's great.
Because more than likely, Roosh is going to replace Kyle Fletcher.
Yep,
which makes
more
sense.
likely. After Hobbs comes back and beats the shit out of him and jumps him out.
Yeah, Hobbs been tweeting. He coming back soon.
The boy is about to be back.
Ooh. Roosh and Hobbs as a tag team for the Don Callis family.
It's nasty, man.
Oh my god. We know y'all listening. Go ahead and just give us a match in a few weeks after Wembley. Whenever Hobbs comes back, go ahead and just give us the match. Put him against anybody. Let's see it.
New chapter in the Book of Hobbs.
Oh. After this, we had another Jack Perry promo. This time, there was no, at least on my screen, there was no interruption from this one. Jack was standing in front of a bunch of TVs, and he basically took an axe and smashed all of them, and they all had former TNT champions on them. And eventually, it led to him breaking every TV except for the one that had his face on it.
Mm-hmm.
And one line that was interesting was, "Those who shape the future carry the burden of destroying the past." So that means he's going to do some shit at Wembley. We don't know what. There's going to be something.
Yeah.
That's all for that.
Be interesting.
Right after this was an open challenge. So Swerve came to Collision. He went to Texas, and he said that he was going to do an Eliminator open challenge. Anyone in the back can come out, wrestle him. You beat him, you get a chance. You get a shot at the title. He also was like, "You didn't expect to be here in Arlington without me, right?" Which I actually really appreciate Swerve coming out to do this, because he definitely did not have to do this, but it was nice to see him, and he wrestled.
Yeah.
And the person who answered the open challenge was none other than Tomohiro Ishii.
Big Ishii. Let's go.
So for no promo, we got Swerve versus Ishii. Bro, this match, oh my god, I enjoyed this match.
Like I said, I need Ishii versus everybody before he goes back.
God.
And they're doing it.
You know what I need now also after seeing Swerve do this?
What?
I need to see Swerve in the G1 next year.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Man. But I'm not gonna go through the entire match. Basically the way it was very back and forth. The way that the match ended is Swerve won after jumping on Ishii and doing a stomp in the middle of the ring, and then going to do the house call. Fantastic. It maybe was like 12 minutes. It was not a long match. Very hard hitting. Mm-hmm. Swerve we've talked about how good Swerve is, right? But it's just the fact that he can just wrestle against anyone. And I know it's Ishii. Ishii is also fantastic at wrestling against everyone. But just seeing Swerve and Ishii wrestle against each other, it just did something to me. It made me feel real good.
It's because Ishii is on the screen, man. That's why.
Yeah. It was a fantastic match. It was nice to see the world champion come out on a Collision and actually wrestle a match. It was just all around fantastic segment and fantastic match.
Good stuff.
You have anything for this one?
Nope. I'm just happy. You already know my answer.
Mm-hmm.
Ishii versus everybody. I need it to happen.
We got with the G1 ending next week, we might only have like 1 or 2 more shows with Ishii before he has to go back.
Well, till after All In, right?
Well, it depends, because I don't know if Ishii's going to be there for the G1 final, because usually they do like a bunch of like lower tag matches to build up to the G1 final.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they're going to need him to do like some chaos stuff, but if they don't, Ishii can stay around for another 2 weeks.
Well, because he's in All In.
Yeah, he's at Wembley, but he can always go back and forth, because MJF is doing that right now too. MJF went to Mexico last week. Today he's in the UK. He's coming back next week. So there's probably going to be a lot of traveling.
Yeah. Oh yeah, whole lot.
But that's it for that. Next was a backstage promo segment from Claudio Castagnoli, who was not forgotten.
Hashtag what about Pac? Say it every goddamn week.
He hasn't even been on
They
TV.
forgot about my boy Pac.
He hasn't even been on TV in a little bit. Pac hasn't, like, at all. It's just gone. But Claudio had his backstage promo where he called out Okada, because he does have the rights to wrestle Okada for the Continental Championship, and he said that he has a good place for it, which would be the very first Dynamite in the UK in Wales on the 21st. But,
okay.
Yeah, but they're going to be talking to each other. They have a segment next week on Dynamite where they're going to be in the ring together face to face. So they're probably going to talk about it a little bit there. But it sounds like the match is going to happen. That's probably the main event of Cardiff.
Nice.
And then after that, we had another promo, which was an in-ring one, with Stokely and Statlander. So they come out to the ring. Someone's in the ring with them, and she informs them about what Willow said. And we have the match official for the All In 0 Hour, which is... I can't believe I'm going to say this, so I need a second, because I can't believe I'm about to say this. It is going to be Willow and Tomohiro Ishii, Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii versus Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway. Stokely tried to hop in and he was like, "Oh no, I have someone. We have connections. We'll find someone." And I think it's Lexi. Lexi informed them saying like, "No, it's gonna be you." And then before he could say no, Stat accepted. So Tomohiro Ishii now has to wrestle against the greatest wrestler alive in Stokely Hathaway. And I am worried for Ishii, personally.
Oh my God.
One thing that was funny from this promo, though, is that Stokely said that Willow needs a, quote, short and bald guy to do your evil bidding. And I just thought that was funny.
Yeah. Stokely, stop. You're the short evil bald guy.
But this match is official. That's the 0 hour. That's one of the 0 hour matches, which is like I said, I feel bad for Ishii. I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna be able to make it back to New Japan after this one.
It's okay. Big Stoke got this.
I hope so. I hope so. Well, that's the match. Stokes is about to get his ass beat, real bad.
Poor Stoke.
In the next we had another promo segment, which it wasn't on. I don't think it was actually on anything, but this one, if you, I don't know if you did you watch Collision? I should have asked before.
No, I didn't watch Collision.
Man, if you watch anything from this, you gotta watch the segment. You gotta find it. You gotta watch it. We're in the back with Top Flight, and Lexi's back there again. She's like, "We're here because Top Flight requested time with MXM Collection, but they're not here." But they rise up, and they were like, "Oh, we were always here." And they basically talk shit to Top Flight, saying that they have yee ass haircuts, and that they basically can't stand up to them. I forget what his name is now, but one of the non-brother in Top Flight was like, "Enough, we're here for this match. You want to have the match? Let's have it tonight." And then MXM Mansoor was like, "I can't. I broke a nail." So I'm what was the exact word that he said? He said he's not cosmetically cleared to wrestle tonight. And they said we're gonna dip. So before they leave, Leo Rush walks into the screen. And Leo's like, "Oh, I have a message from Tony Khan." And then Leo shows his phone to them. And MXM, I don't think they can read, because they were trying to figure out what was on Leo's phone, but they were kind of like stuttering. They're like, but. So Leo took the phone back, and basically we have MXM versus Top Flight for Collision on Saturday.
Nice.
It should be a good one.
Yeah, it should be.
Also,
wait,
go ahead.
So you're talking about, so you were talking about Action Andretti, right?
Yeah, Action. Yeah, him.
Yeah. Okay.
He's the one who did most of the talking for Top Flight.
Yeah, because the other two can't talk.
Yeah. Layla did a little bit of talking too, because like Layla said that Mansoor was a little too short to be a model, and he was like, "Oh," he was very offended. They had bars back and forth. It was a fun segment. Also, MXM is very popular right now. They are very over with AEW, the AEW audience.
But they're awesome.
The second they showed up, there was a huge pop.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, those guys are awesome.
After this, we had Hikaru Shida versus local talent, which is Aaliyah James, which I noted on here. They should not let Aaliyah leave without signing a contract. She can be on TV a lot. Shida won with the Falcon's Arrow. Pretty quick, pretty clean. And then I'm actually going to skip because I want to talk about what she said after. So we go backstage with Shida, and she is talking her shit, bruh. She calls herself the ace of the women's division. Fact. She said that she needs real competition. Fact. So she calls out Mercedes for Dynamite.
Oh, shit.
So on Wednesday, on Dynamite, we are getting Mercedes Moné versus Hikaru Shida for the TBS title.
Hell yeah. And, oh, god damn it. I already see how this is going to go.
Yeah. I didn't want to talk about it because I was excited, but you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, Britt Baker's going to jump in and cause it to be a DQ.
Yep. Just
Britt's also going to be there because she just beat Shida a week ago.
Mm-hmm. She'd have brought that up too. But yeah, we get a little bit of Mercedes versus Shida on Wednesday.
I can't believe she fit into her arsenal and moved from Yakuza though. She's doing it every week now.
I'm not surprised. Shida basically is Yakuza at this point, bro.
Yeah.
But next up, we had another backstage thing. Jim Ross actually also sat down with Bryan Danielson. Sadly, the segment there wasn't a lot from it like the Swerve one.
Mm-hmm.
Danielson seemed like he was just happy to talk to Jim Ross, which, granted. But basically, Danielson said that he's in the best mental space that he's been since being in AEW. And he knows that he's had 4 opportunities and he lost all of them. But this one is what makes him dangerous. And I don't know if this is true or not, but he also said that he's most likely going to need neck surgery by the end of the year.
So it makes sense now because, like, when Swerve was talking about his arm going dead and stuff like that, I think that was like some of the stuff he was mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what will cause it.
We'll see, because if he needs neck surgery, he definitely should not be, like, if he for real needs neck surgery, probably shouldn't be wrestling right now.
No. Well, he needs the last one.
So, I mean, we'll see what happens, but yeah. This one wasn't as notable as the Swerve one. The Swerve one had a lot more barbs in it, and it was the same amount of time. It was like about 30 minutes. But yeah, it seemed like Dan was just kind of happy to talk to JR. And JR is also really good at these backstage segments where he's asking questions. He's always been good at this, but it's nice to see him do it more.
Yeah.
And then we move on to the main events. The main event was the House of Black versus the Bullet Club Gold, Bang Bang Gang, with Christian Cage in his referee turtleneck as the special guest referee.
It's referee turtleneck.
He had a long sleeve turtleneck referee shirt.
It's the best.
Look at this shit, bro. Look at
I
him.
didn't know they made referee turtlenecks until now.
It's so good. Because we're running a little short on time, I'm gonna make this very quick. First off, Malachi Black again. It's actually on screen right now. He's again very motivated. We talked about it last time he was in the ring, but his back must be fully healed because he was on one this match.
Yeah, my boy is flying, man.
It just look. I respect it. I'm happy you're better. Whatever's happening, I'm happy that's over. Christian was actually calling this match down the middle for the entire match.
Yeah.
Until there was a point where everyone was down. So Christian was doing like the down 10 count. And for those who don't know, if you don't know, if all wrestlers are down for 10 seconds, the referee can call it like a double KO, like boxing kind of thing. So Christian's doing the count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And once he gets to 8, Buddy Matthews is kind of standing up. And before he stands up, because Christian's like spinning in a circle, just making sure everyone's good. By the time Buddy's getting up and he's at 8, Christian spears Buddy. And then it's like 9, 10, and then ring the bell for double KO. So the match ends in a draw.
That's so hilarious.
It was better because he was calling it down the middle the entire time up until that point.
Yep.
And the patriarchy came out. There was a big brawl. They all started fighting each other, and that's how Collision ended.
So, 3-way, Wembley, trios. It's gonna be bananas. That's what's happening.
Yeah, it's not confirmed, but it's confirmed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we know. Okay, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
I don't know nobody. Bang Bang Gang versus House of Black versus the Patriarchy for the trios title.
Mm-hmm.
You heard it here first.
But that's really
what's gonna happen.
But that's Collision.
Yeah, man. The Collision was stacked. I gotta watch it. I gotta go back and watch it.
It's a really fun show. Collision, since they've been in the esports arena, Collision's been a lot of fun to watch. Not only because the wrestling's been like really good, because the wrestling's always pretty good. The crowds are fully involved.
Yeah, it's the atmosphere, man. It's like they need to do like in general, just like Collision always needs to be in that type of arena.
Yeah.
Mm.
I would be very cool if they even like taped Collision and just did it like on like a Thursday or something, or like whatever they're doing now. Just do like whatever. Just you don't need Collision in big arenas anymore. You don't.
Well, here's something interesting, right? They've started taping Ring of Honor on different days than like their other shows.
They've been doing Ring of Honor on like they'll do Collision on like Saturday, and then Sunday they'll do like 2 or 3 Ring of Honor shows in
Yeah.
the esports arena.
Yeah, so they're not grouping them with like Dynamite or anything like that anymore.
Thank God, because a lot of those Ring of Honor shows in the big arenas are like hard to watch because people don't care in the arena.
Yeah,
But yeah, man, that's it.
that's good stuff, man. Like, ah, yeah, wrestling isn't a good. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan.
Mm-hmm. It really is. You have any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
Uh, my final thoughts for just AEW in general. They're firing off on all cylinders. Everybody coming out looking like $1 million. They're all looking great. And I can't wait to see the build for the next few weeks until all in. They're rolling now. So let's roll in style. Let's roll in big.
It's actually crazy that it's 14 days away. It's in at the time of recording, so it's about 2 weeks away.
Yeah, it's the 11th right now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, like and then this coming week, like all the stuff coming up, like, Okada and Claudio going to be face to face. We got Hangman Page versus Jay Lethal. We got Nick Nemeth on TNA in TNA. We got Nick Nemeth versus Josh Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
That's just gonna be good. We like I said, it's a good time to be a wrestling fan.
We're about
Because
to
we
have
got a lot of good wrestling happening.
we're about to have another 3 hour show next week.
Oh God, no, no, no.
I mean,
Well,
we're already here now.
oh yeah, okay. Well, fuck it. 3.5. Let's go.
But that is all for this week's episode of Off the Top Rope. As always, thank you all so much for watching. We've been seeing the numbers. Y'all are watching us a lot more than we thought, so we really appreciate it. And
Yeah,
yeah,
guys.
Prophet, do your thing.
Yeah, guys. Thank you very much. And as usual, if you like the show and like the things you hear, and also want to talk with us too, comment. Comments are we'll answer the comments, and we'll even save a segment for the show so we answer you directly. So comment, please subscribe because it helps us out, and like if you like the show, click on the like. Thank you very much.
Peace out, y'all.
Later, guys.